Future Dom, I hope that this helps. I hope it starts right here, so it could be like, Future Dom. Be like, great, the person who watches all of these. Anyways, you know how we start this. Roll call.
Kaya.
Ryan.
Mikey.
Kyle.
And Steven. Welcome back,
Ooh.
everybody. I know, threw a little sauce on it.
Oh,
Steven, are
spice.
you okay?
Steven, what
Wow.
happened?
Well, I've seen enough of the show to know a lot happened to that boy. But we're not here to talk about light constructs, the, really, really gay version of Green Lanterns. Crystal gems. Anyways, enough about that. More about this. Before we jump into anything, would everybody roll me a d10?
Oh, shit.
I need some help with some decisions on what
Oh,
happens
fuck.
later, so let's just let your guys' dice decide that. And go ahead and post that in the chat if you would. 6, 2, 8, B4, B4. Ow. Okay. 2, 6, 2, 5, 6, 8. Good to know. I will add that. So that would be 6. Not that 6. 2, 5, 8. Okay. That'll do. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you, adventurers. So, when we left the odd jobs of Mole Master, it was the end of one of the most deadly fights that our party had ever encountered, fighting in the cavern of an elemental node of water against Shelvasa and the Cult of Crushing Wave. After a very, very close battle, with the party just barely managing to survive not only themselves, but also to rescue the Prince Ulatha Mesavir of the Sea Elves of the Moon Sea. Shelvasa, one of the priestesses and leaders of the Cult of Crushing Wave, made her escape through the water rise instead of, a waterfall. As the party recollected themselves, not Siren, fuck, got Siren on the brain. Jasper went to the elemental node of water and examined it, with Rory also taking a bit of that water into a vial, finding inside this node a wooden chest of sorts containing a menagerie of different items of import in value to the cult. The party went out of the elemental node's cavern, seeing it starting to power down, or at least appear to power down. Starting a conversation, but deciding that they needed to take care of the prince and deal with their captive Rogers in the Temple of All Gods first, before having a very serious talk about an unveiling of Jasper's mask, revealing that she was indeed Lapis Lap, the older sister to our very own Freddie Lap. Putting that conversation on hold, the party returned Ulatha to Musana and her handmaidens. There, they had a conversation led by Jove, who received the title of Alhan de Brath, which means a true friend, where Ulatha explained the significance of the elemental node and the potential dangers that would have transpired had the party not intervened. The Sea Elves asked to take the captive Rogers to their own kingdom to await judgment for the many crimes that this cult had inflicted upon the Sea Elves, and offered aid to the party in traveling up the River Lys back to Mole Master. During this rather long boat ride, as the party collected various loots in front of Rogers, doing a bit of pettiness, showing the spoils of their adventure in front of her after they had, defeated and murdered almost all of her companions. As they went up the River Lys, a conversation was had between the party where Lapis slash Jasper came clean to the party about who she was, what she had been doing, and a trust was formed between the party, with all of them agreeing to help facilitate uh, Jasper Lapis's dual identity, thinking it was best for their own safety and the safety of others to maintain that dual identity away from the nobles of Mulmaster for the time being. Some heated words about honesty and what other sort of machinations this group is looking into were had, but by the end of the conversation, the party seemed almost stronger for the conversation. As our odd jobs returned back to Mulmaster, uh, Ulatha told Jove to hold on to the blue pearl that he had received from Musana, and that should they need to call upon the sea elves of the Moon Sea, they need only to place the pearl back into the Moon Sea and await for their arrival. The sea elves then left to their own kingdom, with Rogers being dragged behind them in tow. Upon returning back to Mulmaster, Jove went and touched base with the Emerald Enclave, finding out about the true kind of extent of devastation in Elmwood, learning that a large explosion of some sorts has decimated the bulk of Elmwood, and that the few members of the Emerald Enclave that are still left around are fighting hurriedly to combat the fire from spreading to the rest of the outlying forests. Rory returned to the Oxpit Tavern and spent some time meditating on this box that they had found in the statue of Ilmater, finding that it possesses the power of augury on it, and finding that it has been touched personally by Ilmater. Rory added it to a number of few personal possessions. On top of that, Rory is now in possession of Jasper's adventuring gear, Jasper trusting Rory to hold on to that, allowing her to move more easily between her dual lives and to keep some of the more incriminating bits of her dual life a secret, sequestered away from the Goss estates. Freddie returned back to his dormitory, with some classmates noticing his late arrival, but settled in for the night, especially after receiving a rather serious wound to the noggin, and went for a much-deserved sleep. Jasper returned to the Goss estate, now only in kind of the underclothes of her armor and washing the soot out of her hair to return to her typical Lapis appearance. There she spoke with Kirk, who went through, what one might call the stages of grief, but really it's the stages of anger. Of initial anger, and then not so initial anger, understanding, acceptance, and then anger all over again, hearing of Jasper's latest developments in her vigilante life. Kirk and Lapis confided into each other about the dangers of their current predicaments, this ever-growing secret that Lapis is keeping, before allowing Lapis to enjoy her slumber to the best of her ability. As all these small pieces are put together, the city of Mulmaster continues to be hot and humid, uncharacteristically slow, even though it is the end of the winter season with spring not terribly far away. The pure humidity and heat rising easily into 90 degrees for the city of Mulmaster is uncharacteristically high, and the tension in the city seems to grow as the rough individuals who call Mulmaster their home begin to chafe at the excess heat being descended upon the city. As we return back to our characters, as Rory is experiencing a dream of Ilmater in flames, as Jasper has a sleep that is uninterrupted by her typical wounds, and Freddie contemplates as he slumbers over the large bombshells of information that have developed in his life. We return to the evening before. As Jove, you enter into the Oxpit Tavern. The hour is quite late after speaking with Yavendel. There are seldom but one, maybe two patrons, still one halfway asleep at the bar, and Crew Meg, the quietly taking care of the kind of final bits of affairs before catching your eyes and going, "Ah, Jove! Just the halfling I was looking for." As he kind of rests his meaty human arms with that slight green tinge on the bar, looking towards you.
Well, it's good to see you too, Crew Meg. I was hoping you had a room for me tonight.
Yeah, well, ever since this damned heat went up, yeah, we've had a bit of a vacancy, so I got a room set up for you right next to Rory. I'm sure you won't mind.
Oh, yeah, I don't mind at all. As long as there's a wall in between us, he can't hear my snoring, and that's typically what he complains about. So I think we'll be good. Appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'll protect you in case he throws up in the middle of the night. You know the old vomit comment.
Oh yeah, everybody does. It seems to be a calling card of sorts. Hopefully, not an issue being a food establishment and whatnot.
As long as
I'm
he
sure-
keeps it to the floor and not on any plates or glasses.
I'm sure a place like this isn't totally unaccustomed to the sight puke on the floors, if you know what I mean. I've seen some people have a good time here.
Well, you know, the full sale's done. Better than I could have hoped for. Some people just can't get enough, you take my drift. But, I got something for you, Jove. You know, normally it's just a gold to say the night. For you tonight it's gonna be two, because I happen to have been the proprietor of these two objects here. He pulls out a sealed letter and a small, about, you're thinking probably about 8-inch long, small parcel, all wrapped up. And kind of the, for you, Jove, that you know is the telltale purple twine of the Featherfoot Oddity Shop. And you can see already the purple wax seal in the shape of a feather and a question mark of Featherfoot Oddities.
Well, Meg, you're holding in your hands a little piece of home for me. I really do appreciate you taking it into your care. More than happy to pay you the 2 gold for the room and for, receiving this here package. Appreciate it, Meg.
Yeah, absolutely, gather means a lot to you. Be careful sending packages in and out of Mole Master. They have a real bad habit of finding themselves in unscrupulous hands. And he hands over the letter, the package, and the key to your room. Could get you anything to drink before you tote off? Be honest, Jove. You've looked more awake in past days.
Crew Meg, if I'm gonna be 100% honest, it's been a long, long day, and I think that that bed is calling for me. In fact, I think I need a little privacy to see what home has to say. So appreciate the offer, Crew Meg. I'll be back in here with my thirst sooner rather than later.
Well, then I'll be seeing you on the morrow. You have a good night, Jove.
Right back at you.
And Crewmeg returns to his late evening duties at the Oxpit Tavern. Jove, you head up into your room. You briefly stop in front of Rory's door, but it's perfectly silent. Light doesn't appears to be on, but you don't hear any commotion, and you move your way past Rory's door and open up into your own well-furnished room, as the Oxpit Tavern tends to have. Simple, but well-furnished.
Yeah, and Jove's just gonna kind of throw his rucksack on the ground and give himself a little bit of stretch, and then sit at the foot of the bed, and he's gonna start with the letter.
You put on your hands, you break the seal. As soon as you open up, it's got kind of that parchment wax, that immediate olfactory nostalgia hits you. It smells just like home, and, well, it's been a little bit since you've been home. You open it up, and you can see written completely in halfling, the extravagant yet slightly off-kilter writing that belongs to your very own gaffer. And it does read, Dear Jove, before I divulge any of the goings-on around here back in Featherdale, let me be the first to shoot straight with you. That mole master, she's a real bitch, ain't she? Now, I'm not in the habit of using such accusatory language so flippantly, but in all my journeys through the Moonsea, there ain't never been such a mean-spirited city like Mole Master. However, it's a real honest kind of mean, like the chill of winter. You know it's gonna be cold, but you can trust it's gonna be cold every year. Now, minding our own P's and Q's, your pa and uncle are in Sembia right now. Decided that they'd go take a pit stop on their way back home after all that hoity-toity up in Flan. Of course, leave it to my sons to try to make a merchant's day out of an escape back home. But they got the minds of merchants, Jove, and got the heart of an explorer like you and me. Anywho, besides folks not being able to stop flapping their gums and spooking each other about this maned virulence up in Flan, things are all quiet here in Featherdale. Your letter's about the only thing that gives me a lick of excitement nowadays. And between the two of us, we know anyone reading your letters would think that, well, you're the one who's cracked and not that egg. But I never doubted for a second that that egg was real. And while I admit I'm jealous I can't be there to see it with you, Jove, I know that there was no way that egg would ever come about sitting here in Featherdale. So it's only right that a real featherfoot explorer like yourself go make that happen. Now, I done told you all my stories 100 times, Joe, so now I'm happier than a rabbit in a carrot patch to read about you making your own. Taking it upon myself to keep your letters together. Maybe one day you'll have enough by the time you come home to make your own book. We can sell it with mine and make it a 2-for-1 deal. The Featherfoot Fantastic Feats. It's a series. Now, go do something worth writing about, grandson. Love, your gaffer, Caldwell Featherfoot. P.S. I left you something for when people say you're blowing smoke up their ass about that dragon egg. So the letter ends, you reach over to the parcel and unveil it, and it is a wooden pipe in the shape of kind of a dragon head. And Jove, you recognize this as one of your gaffer's kind of personal effects, and it is a pipe of smoke monsters. It's a wondrous item, minor tier, common. While smoking on this pipe, you can use an action to exhale a puff of smoke that takes the form of a single creature, such as a froghemoth, a flump, or a dragon. This form must be small enough to fit into a 1-foot cube and loses its shape after a few seconds, becoming an ordinary puff of smoke.
Jove is like almost at the edge of tears, just that swirling feeling of missing home, while also feeling just through the pages, knowing that he is making Gaffer Caldwell proud. He just kind of sits there and clutches the letter to his chest and looks down to the pipe, and he gives it a whirl.
What do you make with it, Jove?
What else could he make with it? He's gonna make a little dragon.
And you make a little tiny dragon, and it flares out and turns back to you and blows its own little ring of smoke before a few seconds later dissipating.
And Jove kind of lays back in his bed and says, write a book like Gaffer Caldwell. Now that might be just a goal worth attaining someday. And his mind starts racing on into what he could already write and what adventures he might have into the future. And before long, just the exhaustion from the day takes him, and without even like fully getting out of all of his clothes, he falls asleep on what I imagine to be a quite big bed for a halfling, clutching both the letter and the pipe.
As that comes to pass, the night passes, and for many of you, the night passes well into the day. The exertion of your last adventure, weighing heavily on just about everyone, whether it be physical, mental, or emotional. We return back to the Tower of Arcane Might. The sun is well up into the sky when, Freddy, you are awoken from a deep, kind of dreamless sleep, the kind you only get after taking such a shot to the chops, as one might say, where there is a soft but almost staccatoed knock of on your door.
Hey, yo, what? Who is it?
Freddy Lap, it is I, Cloak Turgathan, with a message for you. And the door opens.
Yeah. What's the? You got a note?
You've been excused from your classes today, Lap. And,
Dope. I hate class.
yes, you have made that very apparent. And you can
And
see just kind of the
true to
cold gray
myself.
eyes.
True to myself.
Hand you a incredibly nice piece of parchment. It's got the wax seal with the kind of horseshoe and hammer of the Goss Big G on it in that bright red ink, and hands it over to you.
I have a sneaking suspicion why. And I open it up to read it.
And inside is a very formal, well-written, like the beautiful calligraphy, like the whole, think of like almost like a medieval like Bible page where it's got like the drawings on the side, just way too extravagant for what it actually has, which is a just a simple note of your presence is requested at the Goss estate for dinner tonight. A carriage will be sent for your arrival. Dress well. And then Zor Fulton Goss at the bottom. And Zora Jade Goss.
All right. Do I have clothes that would be acceptable on me?
You do still have the very nice clothes that you got from Mr. Zvaj.
Oh yeah. Cool.
So
Oh,
it's, you look through and you're like, cloak, cloak, cloak. It's just nothing but the same kind of cloaks you and everybody else there. And then the one really nice, like, custom clothes you still have. It's like looking into SpongeBob's closets and seeing nothing but the same one. And there's just one extra nice thing at the very end. You're like, there it is.
And then, just because I forgot to write it down, who am I looking to talk to?
In regards to...
I'm trying to talk to, I'm trying to get an audience with the
Oh,
one woman from that
Zora,
one, yeah, the Zora
Zora
from.
Culkin. Specifically, that's the wrong page. It's Zora Rosaline Culkin.
And where is she from?
She is the proprietor of most of Elmswood. She is indeed a Mulmaster noble. She is still a Zora, but most of her holdings and estates and business appear to be in Elmwood.
Alright. So yeah, I guess if I don't have to go to class, I should probably check in with Nevlon.
Dijuan.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. At this point, the only place that you know easier to find either where food is or your own room is Nevlon's own quarters.
So Nevlon, what was the last thing that I told you about what was going on?
Ah, Freddy, yes, I believe the last adventurous thing that you did was, I believe, your business in Fort Iron.
Okay. Well, then I think the only thing that we've done since then is Fort Dalton. So on the way there was some fish people kind of funky. And then we came across this like magical node thing. And I kind of like described to him where it would be from here. I feel like the cloaks might be interested in that. And it pointed towards the Fort Dalton where we further went exploring. And there wasn't much there. There was just like a couple shrines and stuff. I got this cool harp over there. But then in the middle of the like main bathhouse, there was some kind of summoning ritual or something going on. We ended it for the time being, but it's something that the cloak should be aware of and keep an eye on. And there was a water node, much like the earth node that we saw. It didn't have a seed like the earth one did, but it had kind of a similar power level, you know?
And he kind of pulls at the mustache, less of like a twirl, more of a tension tick. And nods to you as he continues to make notes in a ever increasingly larger book as you come back. Well, Freddy, you seem to have quite the knack for finding adventure in and out of the city.
It's a lot easier to do when you skip in class.
Well, one must recognize where proficiencies do not always translate equivocally into class and into the real world. Would you be interested in returning to a section of Fort Dalton in the future? I may have interests in sending a cloak back there. And since you seem to be so familiar with it and have found a group willing to chaperone you to such an endeavor, I believe that we could uncover more there. Would that be acceptable to you to call upon you further?
I mean, I can't speak for my group because they're not my chaperones. We kind of do stuff together. We just happen to go to Fort Dalton this time. And seeing as they're not cloaks, I feel like just saying that my cloak guy wants us to go somewhere, it probably isn't going to be worth risking our lives again because it was kind of rough over there.
Well, you're right. You can't speak for your companions, but I can speak for you, young cloak.
Well, then I guess I'm going to be willing to go whenever that happens.
Wonderful! But there will be some time before then. I must make note of this, speak, and I'll be reporting this to Senior Cloak Rastoshan. Too much of a coincidence. Two of these elemental nodes, one water, one earth. Do you have any inklings of a connection between the two of them?
When we were fighting, you remember I told you about the like demon worm things, right?
Yes, you went into excruciating detail.
Yeah, the wiggles and the stingers and the yeah. So that had a room where there was a summoning like circle or something, and it seemed to be powered by some elemental things that we had to mess around with to turn it off. So I'm thinking that we've still got two more yet to come. And I'm thinking that the fires that we've heard about in Elmwood are probably related to maybe the fire node. Can't say for sure, but I mean, I'm gonna call a cow, you know?
No, I believe that your insight is prudent, to say the least. Well, if...
So I plan on talking to the Zora Rosalind Cloak and maybe get something out of her. And if it does turn out to be the fire node, the cloaks can count on me to go figure something out.
That's quite a lofty goal for a young cloak to mix in with the Zora so soon.
Yeah, it's what they call privilege of being noble.
Freddy, you're not a noble. You're a cloak.
Well, I come from noble.
Odd, you've never made mention of that before.
Well, I just take advantage of it. I don't really take pride in it.
Was unaware that Lap was a noble name.
Uh, yeah, she married out of it, you could say.
I assume that you're referring to a mother of yours? You're not very forthcoming with your history. In fact, this may be the longest you've ever spoken about it.
Yeah, and you can probably guess why.
I'll leave the guessing for younger scribes. I'm sure you will be forthcoming with what you feel comfortable saying. But your nobility is no concern of mine.
Mine either.
We are brothers as we are cloaks. That's important enough for me.
All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I'm gonna start planning on how I'm gonna get this audience I spoke of.
Carry on, Cloaklap. I will be interested to see how your meeting with Zorkolkin goes.
Well, I mean, so far with my meetings with the Thavians, it seems like foreigners are kind of taken to me. So, it should go all right.
A boon for a cloak such as yourself. Well, until then, make way. As he turns his head back into this large kind of. It's gone from what looked like a mid sized journal to now a large text, which is clearly becoming an even larger tome, as his own hand, accompanied by a mage hand, continues to furiously write note after note. So, as you make your way out through Nevlon Dijuan's personal quarters, the door, of course, shuts behind you with the same efficiency that all the doors in the Tower of Arcane might do. It was a bit of a late day for you, so as after your conversation with Nevlon Dijuan, who got every single excruciating detail, as he does, from you, it's probably closer to 2 or 3 in the afternoon, maybe even a little bit later. As you head out past your fellow cloaks, you can see right in front, past the stone golems of the Tower of Arcane Might, an incredibly beautiful carriage waiting there for you. All fine oaken wood with little platinum embellishments here and there. The carriage looks like it's more about the fashion rather than the function. Were this to go into non-cobble street roads, it would most likely break some of the finer bits of it. But it's extravagant, and there's almost a small kind of crowd of different cloaks all kind of gathered around looking at it, trying to get kind of an eye for it, as there's a singular driver and a footman on the back who stand at attention, awaiting for what you can only assume is you.
Here we go.
You make your approach, and the footman steps off the back, retrieves a stool, and says, Freddy Lap?
The one and only.
And nods to you and sets the step stool down in front of you and takes a deep bow and opens the carriage to you. And the inside is all velvet and platinum. Just incredibly well furnished. I mean, it's more well furnished than any of the inns that you've stayed at in Mulmaster so far. And as you,
Wow.
yeah,
Pretty nice carriage, my man.
thank you, sir. And as you step in, removes the stool, places it on the back, shuts the door. You hear a sharp whistle, and you feel the carriage move forward. And as you're sitting there, you can see that there's a small compartment by kind of on each bench, kind of in the center of it. And as you reach on, you feel kind of a handle, and you pull it back, and inside there is a bottle of wine in a singular glass. And the insides of it feel almost cool compared to the humid weather of Mulemaster right now.
I'm gonna take Johnny out so he can relax with me.
Johnny bamps out and hops on over across from you, sits like a person does, like Remy from Ratatouille, like all the velvet, puts his little rat hands on it, smooths it out, smooths his hair back, makes a at you, and nods to you, almost leans back in the seat.
Might as well take advantage of this wine while I got it.
Looking at it, it is a red wine, and on the front of it says Ceylonian Special Vat. It's a kind of a pale red, and as you uncork it, there's kind of this blend of sweet fruits and grains. It almost kind of makes your nose tingle. And as you pour, there's just this, like, half raspberry, half strawberry, and then just this real kind of graininess to it. Not in texture, just in smell. And as you drink from the glass, it quite literally tingles the whole tongue. It almost kind of tickles as you drink this.
Can Johnny drink, or is he not able
Oh
to?
yeah,
'cause
most
he's-
definitely.
Oh, then he is getting up in there.
He pops on over. You pour the one, and he pops on over and goes up and sees your like a little bit of the wine left on the lip, and gets like a perfect little handful, and you see his whole kind of body. Zzz. It's like you can watch a shiver go through it. And he goes and grabs a little bit more. And then that same kind of shiver, and then looks back up to you for approval.
Yep, this is what we call liquid charm. Not courage, because I got plenty of that, right? We need charm. We need extra charm if we're gonna get anything out of Pops.
And he kind of squeaks at you and nods and gets another like little rat handful, and then see that shiver, and he instead of like shivering, it's more of moves kind of side to side, like in step. And the before you know it, the carriage stops. It's not a terribly far distance from the Tower of Arcane Might to the Goss Estates, especially in a carriage as nice as this. Go ahead and make me a Constitution saving throw as you finish this.
Constitution saving throw. Where did my dice go? They were just here. There they are.
Da-na-na-na.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, dice, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay. 8.
Oh, yeah. It was fine in the carriage ride, but as you kind of stand and take your kind of first step as the carriage door opens up and you see the footman's already put the stool right there, you feel a woof as the whole world kind of tingles. Go ahead and make me a dexterity saving throw.
Okay. 9.
9. Wham! As you miss the step stool and step right to the side of it, and go ahead and take 1 point of bludgeoning damage as the footman goes, Sir, are you all right? He helping pick you up, brushing off some of the bits of dust and debris from the cobblestone roads as you put back on your feet. You see Johnny make almost in not quite in unison, like a half second afterwards, as you kind of hit the ground and you meet the cobblestone with your face, you feel Johnny land on your back face first.
Yeah, it hurts a little bit, but you know what? That's the life of the adventurer. Sometimes you fall out of a carriage.
My apologies, I should have placed the stool slightly to the right. My sincerest apologies, young sir.
I don't know. I wasn't even paying that much attention. Maybe it was your fault. Anyways, I'm gonna go in. Do I have to do anything for you?
Oh, no, not at all, sir. Uh, Simply happy to provide the services that we do. We will be waiting here upon completion of your evening event to take you back to the Tower of Arcane Might.
Okay. It shouldn't be terribly long. It's just dinner, right? Those don't take long.
Right. Yes, of course, sir. As he puts the stool back, hops on the back, and the cart begins to make its way to wherever it is that these people take their carts or carriages. You're once again in front of the Goss Estates, the large platinum gates there, the guardhouse in front, a number of personal guards all in front of the house, and you see a familiar set of guards who nod to you, and this time, without asking for any of your things, open the gates up, and you walk into that long kind of walkway into the Goss Estate. You can see ahead that same big kind of Goss G fountain in the front, the perfect symmetry of all the foliage and landscaping on both sides. I mean, it's like 1 second you're in the concrete jungle of Mulemaster, where everything is stone and iron and soot and heat and sweats and just Mulemaster as you know it. And then you walk in here and everything is clean and fresh, and there's just the perfect amount of nature. It almost dampens the sound of the Mulemaster city around you as you make your way up past the fountain. A small number of guards following in your wake behind you, just keeping off eyes not concentrated on you, but to the surroundings as you make your way all up to the very front door of the Goss Estate.
I'm gonna knock in some kind of like tune.
Yeah, you knock and tune, and there's not even a second after you finish knocking, the door opens up, both doors, in this kind of big grand gesture, and there, standing at the front of it, is your mother, wearing an all kind of green dress, the long kind of flowy kind, a almost summer kind of dress. Well, now would be the time for much heavier kind of fare. You can see even in here, there's a bit of that humidity and that kind of heat. And standing right next to her, almost jumping up and down, is the young Zor, Faltingos II, who's got a kind of that sandy brown hair, that almost kind of Brad Pitt colored eyes of like golden bluish green, looking at you as he immediately runs over to you and, hey, hi Freddy, hi, hey, hi.
What's up, Pipsqueak?
Sup, Big Squeak and Lil Squeak? And he puts a hand up to Johnny.
And Johnny. Oh, sure, Johnny does fine. Johnny rolled an 11 plus whatever rats have for dexterity to jump down to him.
Oh yeah, he jumps on over and gets to the side and immediately goes up and smooths back part of the young Zor's hair. Yeah, Lil Squeak. And he goes and then you watch your younger half brother push the hair back out of Johnny's hair and slick his back, and they both kind of give each other the nods.
Yeah, I'm
Your
just
rat is
gonna
cool.
You can go and hold on to him until dinner starts.
Oh, hey Johnny, can I show you all the cool places that I like to hang out at? And Johnny makes a couple quick squeaks and nods, and like a flash, the young Zor is running through the house and with a surprising amount of speed, especially for such a young kind of kid. And they are gone, and it is just you and your mother now.
So is it just the four of us tonight?
Oh, no, no, no. Zorgas is making some final arrangements in his office, and, well, we've been trying to rouse your sister. She's... Well, I would say you know what your sister's like, but she's taken such a downturn ever since you and your father were untimely taken away from us. Come,
Yeah.
let's see if we can rouse her with your actual presence. No excuses this time. Already bad enough that she's an invalid. I can't believe that she would ignore her own brother after all this time. Come, son. And she reaches out and takes your hand.
Okay.
And leads you through that kind of big first opening area with, all sorts of armor and weapons and different kind of blacksmithing feats. If you were into that sort of thing, it might be kind of cool, but not really your thing. Not a single instrument to be found in this whole household. You go up the stairs, and you can see that the house is... it's a manor with multiple stories. It's quite long, and at the top of the stairs, you find that the center area of that is all windowed out, leading to in a glass top of it. And looking down, you can see that there is actually a pool on this kind of second floor that has its own kind of area that the glass is walked all the way around. It's incredible to see anybody have a pool at Mulemaster, much less have a second story pool, like all glassed in.
Mm-hmm.
You walk around that, and your mother, kind of points out a few things here, as she gently does. She walks... She's still very much your mother, just so much more poised. There's just kind of that warmth that is missing from her, at least from how you remember. And as you head back down, you pass libraries and rooms and, a second, kind of gathering room behind this pool before you head to the very back of the manor. And it goes from all nice marble and platinum and just extravagant tapestries everywhere and artwork and all the kind of fineries that one could afford. And then it turns to gray stone and the almost as if there's just less lighting here. It just gets darker, more gray, older, and you can see that the back half of this manor is what's left of a small castle, it seems like, as if the kind of back towers were still left out, and they built the manor building forward from it. And there is a large, heavy door in front, and your mother goes up to it and makes just a gentle one knock on the knocker and says, "Kirk, would you please open the door and allow me to see my daughter? She has a visitor." And there's a small scuffling. Well, Lapis, you on the other side woke up incredibly late after that one. However, you're not as sore as you usually do. And Kirk is there, and hey, so not to alarm you, but you got to get ready like right now.
She doesn't even respond. She like shoots out of bed and like goes to her like armoire and starts like grabbing things. And
Okay,
yeah,
so
just
your
starts
brother's
throwing
on his
the
way.
dust.
Your brother's on his way. He's getting picked up, using the carriage. You know, the one that you fucking hate that's got all, like, the dark trim on it and everything like that. You know, the real gaudy one. All right, so he's on his way. They're getting... I know. Like, luckily, you don't got to get in that today. You got to get up, get this clothing on. You're looking at dinner. It's, if you couldn't tell, still fucking hot outside. Luckily, you're not as bruised up as usual, so we shouldn't have to hide your bruises like we do. Anyways, moving through. He's coming in. Looks like Zorgas is in some sort of office meeting things today. You know, his fucking office with all that nice shit in it that he doesn't let anybody go into. Yeah, he's in there for right now. Then, you know, I would expect as soon as your brother gets here, either your half brother or your other not half brother is gonna come here straight shortly. In fact, and he runs on over and opens the door and waits for a second. Hey, speaks a small word to another one of the servants. Hey, thanks. Shuts the door. All right, yeah. How do you looking? And Lapis, what are you wearing right now?
She grabbed a kind of a light gray dress with like what are the colors of Mole Master again? Out of curiosity.
Mole Master, there's the golden M of Mole Master, and typically a lot of the ancillary colors are red and green. Red, green, and gold.
Okay, it's gonna be like gold trim and just kind of details, and she's gonna wear the white gloves that she took off of Rornak. And the dress is like sleeveless, since she can show her arms a bit since she's not bruised all over, and like kind of a little bit of a raised collar. But yeah, and a hole in the back.
And Kirk helps you get your hair where it's supposed to be. Does like kind of the whole look over, and it's not too long after that where there's that singular knock at the door, and Kirk, you hear your mother's voice, and Kirk looks at you, gives you one more up and down. Is like, all right, you fucking got this. You fucking got this.
Yes, she says that she's putting her hair up and kind of like has got pins kind of crossed in the back to keep the bun up.
And he makes his way over and opens up the heavy door. And while the door is shut, there is no exterior light that hits it. The actual building of this room is in one of the old towers. However, the room itself, they've removed many of the extra floors leading up the tower, so it's really just a really tall fucking room. But there are no like extra windows or anything light in here besides the fireplace that juts all the way up one side. This room is kept almost completely dark except for when you turn on what few lights you have in here. And as it opens up, blood floods in. Kirk averts his eyes to the side to keep them more in the darker parts of the room. And standing there on the outside is your mother in that kind of green noblewoman's sundress, and your brother in the same clothes that you immediately recognize from your time at Mistress Vage's. And your mother begins with, Lapis, I hope you are, well, whatever you consider presentable. Your brother is here. No excuses. Come see him.
I hope you would agree with me in my presentability today. I feel fine. And Lapis turns to you, Freddy, and does a small curtsy. Brother? And you can tell, like, especially since you just interacted with her the other day, like, how complete the performance or lack thereof is with her kind of physicality and voice. Like, she has her head kind of down and kind of a lack of eye contact, and her shoulders are slumped and kind of forward, and her posture is just entirely different. And she even has like a slight tremble in her hands that she does not normally have. But yeah.
Wow, Lapis, it's been quite a long time. How are the world treating you?
Luckily, Mother and the Great Zor keep me safe from the world, but fine, thank you. I'm terribly sorry for not seeing you when you arrived the other day. I'm sure you lost no sleep over it. And she kind of makes slight eye contact with you and doesn't smile with her mouth, but you can tell she amused herself with that one.
Oh yeah, no, I'm pretty busy. I'm actually doing some adventuring. Do you have any suitors coming by?
Not in the past few 10 days. I've been terribly ill, as you know.
Hmm,
Uh,
strange.
and as soon as you say terribly ill, Kirk makes his way over to you, Lapis, and let me help you, my lady. So,
Thank you, she says weakly.
and you see this for you, Freddy, is this ridiculous routine of who you have not personally been introduced, but you assume is Kirk, helping Lapis get through here. It's this. Go ahead and roll me a charisma saving throw.
Woohoo.
Me or Freddy?
Freddy.
Okay.
Lapis, roll me a performance check.
Okay, great.
21.
21. You're able to hold it down, but there is a part of you that, like, right now, if anybody could read your mind's eye, you're just cackling on the inside. It's so absolutely ridiculous. You are so surprised that nobody sees right through this. And then, for you, Lapis?
It's a 15 performance.
Yeah, it's you've pulled this move off a million times before. It's almost like having a new audience member who's never seen this bit before. And
Right.
you steady yourself on Kirk and take the deep breath and make every single step look like there's a bit of languish to it. And it's a slow walk, and you make sure to take your time. And it's your mother looks incredibly annoyed, as she always does. In fact, you make it just take just a half second longer because you're in front of Freddy right now, and you can see her kind of brow furrow. Just well, I believe it's time for us to go and breathe deeply as you take that extra half step right there as she begins talking. To go seat ourselves for dinner. And she turns, Freddy, and
Yeah.
sticks out an arm for you to take.
Okay. And I
Thank you,
do.
son. And you make your way into that kind of second floor, kind of like great hall that's already has like the long long mahogany table with dark iron kind of threaded through it, and like all sorts of twists and curls, just something that would be incredibly difficult and of course expensive to make. And there are places set up, and as you all take your seats, your mother takes the right hand seat of a large, with a big G emboldened at the top of its seat at the end of one table. As you guys, Lapis, of course, takes the seat next to her, with, of course, help from Kirk. And it's not long before you hear a "Yeah!" as streaming in like a bat out of hell. You see the young Zor with he is throwing Johnny in the air and then running and then catching Johnny, and then Johnny gets into position and then launches him, and then he runs after and catches Johnny again. It's like he's playing catch to himself with your rat.
That's fine.
Before
I can bring it back to life whenever. I knew what I was doing when I was trusting an actual child with Johnny.
yeah, you can see that Johnny he's if he was an anime character, he'd have the spiral eyes going on right now. As this kid is just spiral passing it to himself all day, and you just occasionally hear before he turns over and says, "Oh, how Giuseppes, hey, check this out. Look, and throws Johnny at you. Just woof.
She tries to get out of the way, like, you know, feeble girly girl rat.
Go ahead and make a dexterity saving throw with disadvantage.
Okay, that's. You did not need to give me disadvantage. If that tells you what I rolled.
Well
as
done.
Johnny rockets across and hits you square in the face, knocking you over. And as soon as that hits, Freddy, you feel just the damage go through, and there's a poof as Freddy almost kind of explodes into that kind of pink, dusty, like ninja bomb style, like right in front of Lapis's face, knocking her over. And immediately the young Zor starts cracking up. Your mother, actually, you see a just fucking evil smile from her. Oh, daughter, no.
Oh,
Kirk, would you?
Lapis, there's no need to worry. A lady like you might not understand this, but that was a magical rat. So you didn't get hit in the face with an actual rat. This one's magical.
Oh, can you make him do that all the time? Does he just explode whenever you want him to? That is so cool. Can you teach me how to do that? Can I do something like that, Ma?
No. Well, okay. Let me answer your questions in order. Yes, no, God, no, 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 no. Yes.
Oh. Of course, your brother's completely correct. If he were to conjure something, it would not be a rat, my dear. She kind of pats him on the head and smooths his hair back. Now, take your seats. Your father should be joining us shortly. As Kirk helps you up, just like, he just kind of whispers into your ear, like, damn, that kid's got kind of a fucking arm on him. Is that genetic?
Between her fake coughs, she says, apparently.
Gets you up and puts you to your seat next to your mother, and then Freddy, they all at the other end of this table, so you're directly across from where Zorgos would seat. A servant pulls out the chair and directs you to it.
Wow, I get to save my hands just for touching the silverware. I don't even have to touch my seating device. Now this is the life.
Oh, this is nothing, my dear. We've had so much. And she just begins to direct servant after servant, and like a small storm of servants comes in, and in the span of 2 minutes, maybe less, the entire the entire table of this is filled with all sorts of delicacies from, I mean, quite literally, like, there's a whole bowl of caviar in one section. There is like whole kind of like these what looks like a pate of sorts on another side. There are drinks put in front of you, 3 different glasses with 3 different types of wine. It's not asked which one you want, simply pour it all in front of you. And there's a brief description of this deep red, fortified brandy, and then, of course, a nice white wine. And it's just the speed and precision. She's barely finished, finishing her sentences before there's an entire just what she refers to as a simple charcuterie before the main course. We wouldn't dare start with that, Lord Zorgos. All put in front of you.
Wow, all this food that we could never possibly imagine eating. Meanwhile, other people are starving on the streets. Really shows you how much better we are than them, right? Crazy.
Oh, absolutely.
They
Nothing
should
but
they
the
should
best
just
for us.
they should just try harder, and then maybe they could be as successful as we are.
If only they would give in to the true spirit of Master and simply take what you must to get ahead. But
Right,
that's for the rabble, not for
just like
Zors like
living on the
yourself.
streets. God, idiots.
Could you imagine, my dear? Could you imagine?
Like, Jasper Lapis is trying so hard to just, like, eat the food in front of her without, like, coughing from laughing right now.
Oh, and Jasper, you fucking hate pate, but like, you know that Lapis is supposed to like it, so you're just like, fucking hate this, but this is too good to stop.
Actually, she totally chokes on her food from laughing and just turns it into one of her fits to like cover for it.
Kirk, and as you start having your fit, your mother just offhandedly says Kirk, and Kirk is at your side already, and it's like,
Yeah.
really? Like, it's gonna be like this all day? You can't keep it together just for like a little. So the conversation continues like that of just your mother and Freddie just harping on the poor people of Mulmaster, getting asking just superficial questions, just basic stuff, all airs, as one might say, before not long after, as some of the kind of pates and caviar and the finger foods of this meal are whisked away, and they bring out what looks to be an entire like spit roast of like a whole pig, like not just like we're talking Hawaiian style crunchy outside skin bark, like put it on the table, still cooking, slowly spinning it around as you see Zorgas in a fine tunic, all gold, the sleeves only pushed back up to the elbows, rolled, of course, stylishly, but with the appearance of somebody who is trying to be messy, with the same kind of, the same kind of stylings going down to the pants as well. And curiously, no shoes on inside the house, just bare feet. The kind of strong forearms, the dark brown hair and brown eyes of Lord Zorgas. And it seems I've made it just in time. Freddy, glad to have you for dinner. And he walks over to your side and doesn't let you stand up out of your seat, puts a hand down there for you to shake.
Are you muted?
Oh damn it! I was doing really good too. Oh, your Zornus, the honor is all mine getting to come into this great hall and eat all this extravagant food.
Now see, there's the type of attitude I expect from our cloaks. Respectful to the finest. And shakes your hand way too fucking hard. It's just way harder than there's any need to be, and it's baffling because he's a Zor, but his hands are actually kind of rough, which we were not expecting. Most Zors and noble peoples tend to have real soft hands, but his are actually surprisingly rough.
Do they look rough?
They looking on the outsides, you can just briefly see some very light scarring on there, and the calluses feel like deep, but they're old. It's kind of like once you've had hard calluses, after a while they can kind of they're there, but they're much softer, which is just
I guess ultimately my question is, do they look different than how they feel?
uh, they feel exactly how they look. It doesn't
Okay.
seem to be a glamour. It's just kind of startling. You're not expecting it from a Zor to have rough hands. As he makes his way over to the head of the table, and well, quite the feast we've got here. My lady Zora, and kisses her hand and puts on like a big show. And, my Zora. Lapis, good to see that you finally put it together enough to see your brother. Not gonna embarrass us a second time. Good, good.
She meekly nods.
Young Zor? Keeping out of trouble? Keeping up on your studies? Yeah, Dad. Young Zor. Yes, Zorgas. Good. And just with a single just heavy clap on this 5-year-old's like shoulder. You can see his whole body sinks in about 3 inches. So let us begin, and they begin, passing out, part of this, pork, and there is a full salad on top of it. You find, just food that it should be out of season, are here. A number of like black olives as well. Just all sorts of food ready for you that you know for a fact, especially after being in Flan, which is a real seasonal place. All this food is out of season. You got stuff that shouldn't be, at this table until well into summer, and it is here and fresh and ripe. It's just, you're having a hard time putting together how much money it must have cost to just eat like this. And the assumption that they probably eat like this all the time.
Yep, that's dinner.
So, Freddy, how goes your work with the cloaks? What rank have you achieved? What great tales? Tell us of our most illustrious Brotherhood of the Cloaks.
Well, somehow I'm still just a rank 1, but I feel a move up to rank 2 coming soon. Definitely doing a lot more work for them than a lot of the other people at my level. Most of them are just nerds that are in class studying.
Of course, you're a man in the field, but no one becomes a journeyman overnight. Must start as an apprentice. I'm sure the Cloaks have grand plans for you. I wouldn't be surprised if you were second to Rastal Sean in no time. And he makes a loud, just kind of guffaw, and, your mother politely laughs by his side, and your younger brother kind of looks up and, ha! Wait, it's not for me. And then gets distracted by something under the table. He can't seem to sit in his seat any longer than about 30 seconds before he shifts to another side of it. The seat being way too large for him anyways. Like, you could fit probably 3 of your younger half-brother in a single seat.
Yeah, so just a bunch of adventures. Got to see a whole bunch of different types of folk. Saw some like water elves. I've seen some like fish people. Seen some cultists. Seen some other cultists.
Oh, Freddy, cultish, you say? Well, I would ask if you're in danger, but I can see that they're no match for my son.
Right, no match. Took care of them really easily. It was pretty much all me.
Jasper's a single eyebrow raises as she's eating.
Yeah, I really took them down myself, and I actually got this new harp, which is just making me all the stronger.
Ah, a new harp, I would assume that you have quite some skill with it, correct?
I mean, I can show you. I can play you a little diddly.
Oh, I would most assuredly enjoy that, but not here at the table. We have a place for such endeavors. As soon as dinner's finished, you will present us the gift of your playing, will you not?
Oh, but definitely.
Dinner by us, a performance by my very own Zora's son. Well, the gods must bless our house quite assuredly to make such a thing. Thank
Yep,
you, Lord Bane.
Must be the gods. Yep, this one's for you, Mr. Bane.
And you see your mother nods her head and says thanks, as does your younger brother, and almost this kind of macabre, like prayer before eating, except just there, and everybody puts a hand out like in front. You keep it close to your chest, like up in a raised like sentence, and they give their thanks to Lord Bane. Which you are very aware. It brings you right back. You haven't been inside of a Church of Bane in 5-6 years, if not longer. So it's kind of like going to Catholicism and be like, and with your spirits and also with you. Dinner continues on. It's not long before the move from the pig, and they have all sorts of sides, and you make your way through. Your brother asks lots of questions about Johnny. Your mother just seems to enjoy your presence. She eats small bites of her food. You catch the raised eyebrow of Lapis at different parts depending on your answer. Zorgos seems attentive as both a listener and a conversationalist, and it's not long before you see the table is wiped away of all your previous food and drink, and Zorgos gets up and says, "Well, Freddy, I believe there's a performance to be had. May I show you where we allow such musicians to entertain?"
I don't know why you're asking permission, but yeah, I'll follow you.
And he smiles, and it kind of freezes for a second. You see him stiffen up, and then looks to Zoragos and relaxes once again. "Yes, of course," and takes you back downstairs towards kind of the older parts of the house, and you see that built into kind of this concave shape, there is a small theater with a number of seats. Kind of, it seems as almost they've dug out part of the ground and sunken in there to make this kind of spear shape. And your stepfather, mother, half brother, and sister, with Kirk always, within 30 feet, all kind of take their seats, and there's a stage lit up, and as you stand, you see Zorgos clap his meaty hands together twice, and a light shines down upon you, and the lights behind begin to dim, and the stage is yours. What are you planning on performing? And when you're done, give me that performance check that you know is coming.
So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play my performance of creation to start the performance. And I am going to make a extravagant, fancy-looking storytelling chair.
Okay.
And then as that comes into existence, I'm then also going to use my harp's ability to let's have it do like a little laser show
All
around
right.
me. And so I'm just going to play my lute and tell a story of taking a lot of hints from what my journey has been, but telling it of like this single adventure going on this quest and kind of just like relating my whole story. So talking about the first mission and finding these cultists up in a tower and how they narrowly saved the life of this person who was about to be eaten up by a giant bird, and just goes on and on about his different excursions with the laser light show and the chair.
Yeah, give me 3 performance checks. 'Cause you go on a whole thing. You take this whole stage. It's just you and only you, and you're going for it.
Okay. 17.
17,
Jesus Christ. 11
11,
and a 23.
23. Yeah, you start strong, like conjuring the storytelling chair and the lights, and you can hear the young Goss just absolutely eating it up. It's looking pretty good. It starts off strong. In the middle parts, there's some places where you get a little lost. You just kind of too into it, and you're just like, you pull yourself back on track, and as soon as you kind of hit the climax of your performance, your younger half brother is just losing his shit. He's having a great time. You can see that your mother is smiling. Even Zorgas, that smile actually looks rather genuine and not the constant plastered on one that he typically wears. Even you, Lapis, and you've heard Freddy play quite a few different times, while annoyed at some of the the creative liberties he's taken in this story, by the end you're like, yeah, that's pretty good. That sums most of it up. So by the end, as you finish up with the show of lights and lights and story and song, as your fingers feel like the first real stretch. They feel like it's been forever since you've played that long and that hard since coming to Mole Master. You end with just like that perfect just stopping of sound as it echoes through here, and the acoustics of this room are incredible, and there's just immediate claps. Your younger brother is the first one. He's cheering your name. He's 100% into what has gone on here, and you can hear not just your your immediate family, but many of the servants and such who have been watching from the outside, Kirk included, are all give a round of applause as soon as you finish. Now that is one hell of a performance.
How long did the performance last?
We'll say this performance probably lasted the better part of 15 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, you did a whole thing, equivalent of what would be like 5 songs put together.
Okay.
So you did one for every kind of 5 minutes. So the first half, the middle, and then the ending. First half and the ending, great. You felt personally your own self-critique. You're like, the middle part was lagging. You weren't really sure where you're gonna go with the whole grotto thing, and especially the nearly drowning parts. It just maybe you need to cut that in the future. But for the most part, you feel real solid about the performance, especially the ending with the sea elf prince.
Mhm.
Money, absolute money. You could turn that into a single, and it might go somewhere with that.
Thank you. Does anybody out there want to sit in the storytelling chair?
Me, and me.
Okay, I'll bring it down off the stage and I'll put it down on the lower tier so we can just sit together and talk.
Whoa. Cool. Usually you have to have people move your chair, but your chair moves by itself.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And he sits and as so that you can feel him just, boy, that kid never stops moving. Just
Mm-hmm.
bounce. A lovely performance, son.
Yeah, and the better part is that's pretty much what I've been doing, so you don't even have to ask me that anymore because I've already told you everything.
Yes, you're quite the storyteller. I suppose my only question is where to next for you, Freddy?
The cloaks are thinking about sending me back out to Fort Dalton, which is where you heard me talking about the water elf prince. But this time on cloak duty as opposed to curiosity. Folks think they have something out there for me.
Well, that should be quite an interesting journey once you return back. I would hope that you would entertain us once again once you've gathered some more stories of personal glory.
Oh, I would be glad to come and tell you my tales anytime. Just gotta find a good stopping point in between. You know, the adventure in life is nonstop, and on top of that, all my cloak duties.
No, it's good that you're keeping yourself busy, staying out of trouble. I've
Hey, you
actually
know, one of us kids has to.
Yes, well, luckily for your sister, I believe we are right on the cusp of getting her to move forward in her life.
Wow, that's a start. Hey, Lapis, look at that.
Yes, we're all very pleased.
Yes, I believe now is a perfect time to make the announcement that there are 2 suitors that should be making their humble requests upon our doorstep for you, Lapis.
She stopped chewing as soon as she heard the word suitor.
Yes, I'm shoring up the arrangements, but make no mistake, I have not stopped tirelessly working to find you a suitable match.
I'm terribly excited to meet them both. I'm sure they're as excellent as any.
Yes, both of them come from fine Mulmaster nobility families.
Wow, more nobles. Look at that, Lapis. You're really getting hooked up with the best.
She looks at him and gives him the fucking most facetious smile he's ever seen.
Well, but that is... We'll be making a more public announcement once we've moved forward on that, but...
Might I know their names, just so I might build myself up to meeting such great individuals?
One, your mother's personal choice, is a young Zor, Sebastian Stowe. He's a bit on the younger side, but the Stows are a fine Mulmaster noble family. The Count Blazon Stowe is a personal friend of your mother's. Been having some issues with him being a little too rowdy, so we figured that his rowdiness with your demure nature would make for a perfect pairing, help balance you both out. The other one, well, I believe you know Andric.
Do I know Andrew?
Yes, that would be Andric Goss, your step cousin.
Oh shit! I was
Oops.
worried that was who it was.
Oops.
Oh, gross.
As you
Alright.
are not by blood a Goss, I figured it would be most prudent to take our two wayward Zor and Zora, Andric with his arts, and you with your constitution, would be better off in a place where you both could be taken care of within the family. And make sure that you're keeping close connections to those who care about you the most. And
Looking forward to getting to know them both.
Jasper, the knots in your stomach right now, somebody could make a rope out of it and climb that shit.
Oh god, yeah, she feels sick.
But nothing is set in stone quite yet, but your mother and I are quite happy to set it all up, as he pulls in Zoragos in close, and they share a noble kiss.
Any Zors from Elmwood coming in for her?
Oh, there's only one Zora in Elmwood. That'd be Zora Culkin, the farmer. And there's a laugh between your stepfather and your mother. She's
Zora, you
far
say?
too old.
Does she have any daughters?
No, Zora Culkin believed that the only way to avoid Mulmaster getting you is to make sure to be out of Mulmaster. I believe her saying is, Mulmaster can't kill you if you never stay in Mulmaster.
Didn't I hear that she just got back in the Mulmaster?
You're very well informed. Indeed she is. Staying over at the Traveler's Cloak, where any respectable noble not staying in their own quarters would stay. Of course, I don't see why she doesn't just stay in her House of the Blades, just like anyone else. But of course, she's a Zora in all but name. No, sweetheart, she is only a Zora in name. Ah, yes, that one.
So, if I ever wanted to talk to her, I could just go do it, or would I need something special?
An interest in Zora Culkin, Freddy. I must say I'm rather perplexed. What would you want to do with a old spinster like herself?
Connections, networking. It's always good to know other Zors and Zoras. And I figure while she's in Mulmaster, I might as well take advantage before she goes running off again.
Oh, Freddy, you're not hoping to think of wooing Zora Culkin, are you? If you're
No,
looking for a suitress, I'm sure we could find you someone much, much better.
We can look for that later, but like his Zornus over here said, she's much too old for me. No, this is purely networking and
To hear
possibly
laughably
opportunity
under her breath,
finding.
perhaps she would balance you out.
Thank you. I know I am youthful. It is taken as a compliment. Thank you, Lapis.
Lapis, your tongue. And there's that sharpness that cuts through, and even your brother, your half brother, like it stops as even Zorgos kind of stiffens at that tone.
Sorry, mother.
Don't apologize to me. Apologize to your brother.
She looks you very hard in the eyes. I'm terribly sorry, brother.
Yeah, I guess we just shouldn't be having it happen again, huh?
You are so right, Freddy.
Oh my
Lapis knows much better than to speak so underhandedly. It's unbecoming of Azora.
I think she's just been spending a little too much time in the room.
Oh gosh, you're so correct, Freddy. But until her constitution decides to take a turn for her brother, it is our burden to bear. But if you are so inclined to see Zora Koken, of course, for you, we will happily arrange for an evening over the Traveler's Cloak. I'm sure she can be reached.
Well, I would much appreciate such an opportunity.
Of course,
Just
we could get that set up for you right now. I have a personal line to the Traveler's Cloak. They serve this wine that you can only get there, and they make it so very difficult to bring it to the estate.
well, that would be great. Let's hop on and get something set up.
Of course. What a wonderful parting gift into the end of the evening. Now, young Zorgos, say goodbye to your brother. And he, with a certain amount of mechanicalness and suppressed excitement, he stands up and says, "Thank you, Cloak, Freddy Lap, brother, for everything. Have a wonderful night for the glory of our Lord Bane." And he nods his head and then can't help himself, goes over and hugs you really fast.
And I kind of just like pull his head in because I'm assuming he's only like thigh high.
Yeah, he's not very tall at all.
Yeah. So then when we break, I'm just gonna take out my harp and just give like a little strum. I'm like, okay, you keep studying, but you can have uh, your own little Freddy here for a little while. And I give him a bardic inspiration. So he just for 10 minutes has little Freddy around him.
And you see him hold on to little Freddy and turns. Good night, Zorgos. Zorgos. Mom. Night, Lapis. And he bolts out of there. And you can see already he is doing the same spiral Johnny to himself that he did. And this time, way faster. Just woof, he's gone.
Yeah,
And you can
hopefully
see
this isn't an actual Johnny. This is a bardic inspiration Johnny, so it's actually just magic.
Yeah, you can see there's a small parade of serpents who begin following after him at a hurried pace.
You don't need to worry, Zor. That's only gonna last a few minutes, so he won't be running around for too long. And who knows, maybe after running around for a while, he'll wanna crash.
Thank Bane. Please do not teach him any of that sort of magic. If he does find that he has a propensity for such arts, we will make sure he puts it to good use. No need
Something
for
tells me,
contradiction.
something tells me if that boy gets magic in him, he's gonna figure out how to summon something. He's not gonna need much of a teacher.
Well, you are right. Any son of mine is sure to shine brightly. But, I will give you a moment alone with your mother and your sister. Let the former lap and former laps have their moments, and I will go to my office and get you a writ for the traveler's cloak. My dear, and kisses Zora Goss's hands, and she nods. Lapis, I pray
Zora.
that you are able to maintain yourself.
She curtsies deeply. Thank you, my Zora.
A whole 2 hours out of you. Perhaps if this keeps up, you might actually be able to make it through a whole wedding. Excellent. And he makes his way out, and it's just you, your sister, and your mother for the time being. Well, this has been quite nice. I'd
Yeah,
almost even wager to say I enjoyed myself.
it was nice. I haven't seen you or Lapis very much at all in the past. I forgot. I lost track of years, but plenty of years.
5 years, 6 months, and 3 days, my dear.
That sounds right.
Oh, it's absolutely right. I've never lost count of the days since I saw you last when your father decided that you weren't meant for the cloaks and thought that you would do so much better in that rancorous stain that's called Flan. But here you are, a cloak regardless. I'm glad you inherited none of the foolishness of your father.
Yeah, well, best be going.
We will call
So
upon you
soon.
again for another dinner, Freddy. It was so nice to bring you back. I believe it does well for both of your siblings to see you shine so brightly.
Yeah, I can't wait to return. Let's not make it another 5 years and however many months, Lapis. I hope to see you soon.
And I you, brother.
And Zorgos returns with another kind of sealed writ, the wax still fresh with the Goss G on it, and hands it to you, Freddy. There you are, Freddy. The whole night, expenses paid at the Traveler's Cloak, and you'll have no problem finding Zora Koken. She, well, you'll notice, she always has a bit of that symbol-y thing you cloaks have.
Yeah,
I don't know what to call it.
I think it's called the assembly thing. I think you got it on the first try.
Of course. Of course I did. Yes. She constantly has details of your cloak symbol-y thing on her. Rumor is she used to be a cloak, but perhaps before my time. So look for the elder woman with cloak details on her. I'm sure you'll find her.
Cloak assembly things. Okay.
Well, Freddy, I'll have the servants escort you to the door, but I believe it is time for the rest of us to retire.
All right. My thanks is on this. I'll see you next time.
Until then, Freddy, and he holds out the hand once again.
And I shake it.
Yep, and that same way too hard handshake with the way too rough hands. He shakes and takes a step back. Your mother steps forward. Lovely to see you, son. We'll call upon you soon enough. I promise it won't be 5 years until I see you next. And kisses you on the cheek.
All right.
And look over to Lapis. One last time.
I'm sorry?
But yeah,
Oh,
after Zorgos says her goodbyes, Freddy looks over and sees you, Lapis, and you feel the eyes of Zorgos and Zoragos looking at these two siblings, awaiting their interaction.
I also hope it won't be terribly long until I see you again, brother. Your presence is very welcome here.
I feel like I will see you guys. I feel like I will see you before anybody even expects it.
her eyes sharpen at that, and she does not respond. She just curtsies and kind of motions for Kirk to kind of attend her.
And Kirk is on you in a flash as you begin making your way back to your quarters. Freddie, a number of servants lead you back to the front doors out into the hot, humid air of Mulemaster. It's now probably getting closer to, dinner was probably around 4. You spent the better part of 3 or 4 hours, so it's probably 7, 8 o'clock at night. The sun weirdly almost feels like it's hanging in the air longer. There's still just the faint bits of light coming across the horizon before you are led back out to the carriage. The footman prepared for you, and as you're stepping up, oh, where to, sir? Back to the Tower of Arcane Might, or did you have other business for the evening? We are instructed to take you to wherever it is you desire.
Let's stop by the Ox Pit.
The Oxpit Tavern. Yes, sir, right away. You heard this, the young sir? To the Oxpit Tavern! And you are loaded up and begin making your way to the Oxpit Tavern. So, as that scene comes to a close, let's go with roll. Thought so. Rory, you wake up from your dream, and it's late in the afternoon, far later than you're used to typically sleeping. You're a efficient 6-hour sleeper. 6 hours in, 18 hours up. That's what you do. But you awaken to just a hot sweat. Your bed, your skin, whatever clothes you're wearing are soaked as that symbol of Ilmater wreathed in flame before being almost burned away, and you see the symbol of the top half of a skull in a star-shaped pattern almost burns into that and holds right in your mind's eye before wake startles you back. And for the first time in quite some time, the dreams are vivid enough to stir you from your slumber. As you wake to sweats. And Jove, you also, you got up a little bit earlier, but have been spending some time just reading over the letter, messing around with the pipe of smoke monsters, practicing some Draconic with Aquila, thinking about your next letter back to Gaffer. When you physically hear just the commotion of Rory just since you guys share a wall.
Yeah, Jove would pop out and knock on Rornak's door and say, "Hey there, bud. You feeling all right? Looks like you've really taken that whole rest thing seriously."
Rornak will take a second, and as he wakes up, Dom, is the box that I had that is the focusing point for the augury. We could just call it like the Ilmater box. Is it nearby? Yeah.
It is. It's exactly where you've left it, except the finger bones are all now in that same starred pattern. The coin that has the symbol of Ilmater is flipped down, and the die rests on top of it. A 3 on there with 3 dots.
Gotcha.
If you were to guess, the sensation is woe. WOE.
Yeah. Rory first thing will get out of the bed and grab the box and just kind of hold on to it as he's looking over that and just kind of respond. I'm okay right now, but just startled, to say the least. Also, Jove, is that you?
Well, yeah. Who else would it be? Did you not hear me snoring last night?
No, I. That's the latest I've slept in a while. Jeez, I was out of it.
Well, put yourself together, throw on some pants, and I'll be downstairs eating some grub. You can join me if you like.
Yeah. You do that. I'll just give me a minute.
And he kind of smacks the door one more time and walks downstairs.
Yeah, you walk downstairs, and there's a modest crowd. You know, by this point, Jove, you got up probably closer to like noon, 1 o'clock. Um, just because of how late you started your sleep and just the need, especially after yesterday, your chest still hurts. There's plenty of soreness that kind of tinker around in you, and just it's so hot and humid. It's just heavy. You know, it's feel like you're like halfway towards the bath, just walking around, and it's not much better going downstairs. Um, but you see Crew Mag and a number of other servers just handing out drinks. Crew Mag sees you, gives you a nod.
Yeah.
Jove.
Howdy. I suppose you can't do anything about this sweltering heat, can you?
Not unless you got a way to turn off the sun.
Well, I'll start asking around, but for now, you got any like fans or something? See, back home, sometimes people get the vapors, and they just need a little bit of air movement. If you got something like that, I'm sure that would be real popular with your guests here. And also make it less of a sauna in here, if you know what I'm saying.
I don't think any number of fans is gonna turn this lesson into a sauna. It's no better in here than it is out there, out anywhere. Even the middle of the night doesn't seem to make it any less bad. And you can just see just the not just on Crew Meg, but just on everybody here, just that sweat, just that glistening shininess that you know you yourself, Jove, are also experiencing.
Yeah, and Jove is definitely not like geared up or anything. He is essentially in like a bathrobe and has like one of those long like sleeping caps on still, and he's just gonna say, "Well, can you fix me up with something that I don't know, maybe isn't piping hot? Uh, and if you got anything, well, you wouldn't have anything cold. You can only get cold water out of a fresh stream, it seems like. But anyways, if you can just hook me up with some food, I'll just be sitting in the corner for a little bit."
Yeah, we got some light fare for you, Jove. Just basic bread and other such small meats and such. I'll
Y'all
make
got
sure it's not too
cheese?
hot. Yeah, we
Y'all,
got cheese. It's a little
yeah.
sweaty right now, but just about everything is.
Oh, you know what? That's one of them things. Is cheese is best served sweaty. So I'll give me a slice of that and some bread and your whatever is the least warm brew you got. Maybe something a little session, a little lighter for the beginning of the day. And Rornak might be stumbling his way down here at some point. So I'll just keep my tab open.
Yeah, you got a preference for ale?
Oh, anything summery? If you've got any juice or anything, off any like I don't know, oranges or any citrus, that kind of thing. One of the things we do back home is we'll actually take a brew, and when we're drinking earlier in the day, sometimes we'll mix some orange juice or something in up with that brew just to kind of cut it a little bit and see us, you know, uh, let's just say alcohol sometimes affects a littler person more than somebody of of your stature. So we gotta take it easy unless we're really going.
Yeah, I got some. Yeah, I can try something like that out. I'll just use the full sail for it. Cut it with this here. Got some lemon juice.
That might be a little on the bitter side, but what the hell? Throw it in there. Let's see. And we call them shandies back home. So I'll give you my honest opinion on it. And hey, maybe that can be a way to stretch out that full sail ale of yours even more.
A full
Uh,
shandy, right?
yes, sir. And, it's good for the profit margin and good for the taste buds too.
So it's you sit down, Jove. There's plenty of seating. You find something away from some other folks, not such cramped quarters. It's not long before Krumeg comes out, got some bread, some sweaty cheese, just real light fare, and brings you a mug. You're like, all right, well, tell me how it is.
Jove will take a hearty swig.
Go ahead and make me a Constitution saving throw.
14.
14. It's no Featherdale shandy, but it does the job. It's you're definitely thirsty after a day like this, so it's maybe a couple degrees warmer than you would like it to be, but overall, not bad.
Crew Meg, it not quite like how we make it back home, but the secret to these shandies is the ratio to juice to ale. So, from somebody that has a little bit of business background myself, my recommendation is maybe iterate a few times, see if you can find something that is just the perfect ratio for your brew and your establishment, and hey, you might have a new menu item. I tell you what, I won't even put in my typical commission fee for such advice. And Jove kind of throws him a wink to show that he is joking.
What do you think? More juice or more ale? What do you
Uh,
think?
you
I'm
know
thinking
what?
more juice. Let's say.
We are on the same wavelength, and maybe even a pinch of sugar might not hurt. But again, that is you're the brewmaster. I just have the belly for it. So if you ever want to try out a new concoction on me, I'm always willing to be a test dummy.
I'll keep that in mind. Can't give none of it to Rory. Ain't got a taste for ale, and half the time I end up on the floor.
Yeah, he's got away with well, seen his lunch twice, but you know, I think he's a little sore about the whole thing. So, but I mean, there's a obvious answer to that, and that's just to quit puking everywhere.
Exactly. You stop puking up everywhere, wouldn't have to be so sore about it.
Well,
Um,
Krumeg, I appreciate you willing to try a new variety of your product with me here today. This is quite refreshing, so yeah, I appreciate you.
yeah, you're quite welcome, Jove. You planning on sticking around another night?
You know what? I'm not quite sure, but could I just go ahead and just pay you to hold the room for the night, just in case I do slither back in here?
Absolutely, you know the deal.
Yes, sir. And he'll pay him the gold.
Yeah, it takes your gold. Go ahead and hold on to that key right there. We'll, I'll come back around once I see you finish up more of this food and try some of that full shandy myself. See what it tastes on a brewmaster's tongue. And nods to you and makes his way back towards the bar. Um, it's some time until Rory eventually joins you. Um, it's starting the afternoon is starting to turn to that kind of golden orange as it sets lower and lower in the sky.
uh, Rornak coming to join you too would be, um, it would not be very much like in casual in appearance. He would be in almost like full attire with the mask as well as his bag on him as well. Seats still open here?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you going somewhere fast?
Maybe. I have something I need to talk with you about per se. I I figure I can talk with you about it because you talked with me about a rock that wasn't a rock. You know?
Yeah, I do know.
Okay, well, we'll just start with this. And he'll open up the bag and he'll take out the Ilmater box and place it on the table. You might remember I found this during our last little escapade.
Must have missed that. Where'd you pick it up?
I in that place that was almost like a shrine to multiple gods. There was a statue for Ilmater there. I paid my respects and I found this box on it and I took it as a sign and I decided to take it with me. I have reviewed over it and I truly believe that Ilmater's presence is within this box. It has spoken to me. I know it for a fact. The signs are not to be ignored.
You know, I'm.
And go ahead.
Oh no! Please, please. I don't want to stop you midway when you're about to tell me all the juicy stuff.
Well, I focused and I meditated on it, and it gave me a sign that the presence was within, and I can just tell you now, I just dreamt of what was just like the sign of Ilmater, but in in flames, and everything about it reeks of a bad omen. I don't know exactly what it is, but I feel that this sign and this heat, it's not to be avoided. It is clearly a sign given to me. I don't
Well, yeah.
know if this sounds crazy to anybody else, but I figured that you of all people would probably understand it.
You know, I'm something of a religious guy. You know, not so much in the way as you know, it seems that you or even Jasper have respect for the gods, but I've heard of this sort of thing before. It seems like the gods have a interesting way in how they communicate with us here on uh, this plane of existence, I guess. And if memory serves, at least from the stories my old gaffer would tell me, it's you know, seeing prophetic dreams is kind of part and parcel with how the gods like to do things with us mere mortals. So you know, Warnak, uh, you ain't sound crazy to me. And in fact, you know, what you're telling me right now sounds a whole heck of a lot more believable than what I was telling you a couple of 10 day ago. So
Well, what you told me was less believable and also accurate, it turned out. At least I assume. I haven't really gotten to ask you much about the whole dragon thing.
yeah, well, you know, it is indeed. I was right, and Gaffer was right, and you know, I wouldn't. I'd be lying if I'd say that that was not a incredibly good feeling. And you know what? As somebody that carried that around for a long time, not really entirely sure if I was crazy or everybody else was crazy. It
So,
was a weight off my mind.
yeah, well, I imagine that is vindicating. And I mean, I have to wonder right now, and he kind of leads in. So, where's the dragon? I mean, if it's hatched, where are you hiding it? Or is it safe? Or
Yeah. This is gonna sound weird, but I guess we're here at this point. How about I'll show you here in a few minutes once I get fully dressed of where Aquila is staying at this point. I'm sure you might understand how I might be a little, and he kind of hushes his voice, might be a little reticent to speak too loudly of such things. I think the Oxford Tavern is mostly friendly folk, but I don't want nobody getting the wrong idea. Does that make sense?
I understand. I thought for a second you might be, you know, trying to store it somewhere here. That's why I asked.
No, you know what? Easiest way to explain it is, you know, I was carrying the egg, and as weird as it sounds, I think I might be the egg now.
Like like physically, or is this more of a metaphysical sort of?
Like, let's just say that last night, after I was talking to Yavindel of the Emerald Enclave on my way back, I could hear Aquila in my head.
Hmm.
It's almost like we are sharing my body. I get it is all very, very confusing. In fact, at one point she said that she's not a part of me, I'm a part of her. So, this is all new territory. I'm still just riding off the high that she's actually here with us, and
N-
is a real life thing. But
No, I don't think that's crazy either. I mean, it's not really heard, but I mean, the body is capable of many amazing things when focused and harnessed. Sharing a body or multiple energies sourcing from a body, it's not. Well, I don't frankly think it's impossible. I just haven't seen it for myself.
and frankly, if there was anything in nature that would be able to do such a thing, it would be the glorious dragon, of course.
Well,
Now, I,
dragons are out of my wheelhouse, so I will take your knowledge on that one.
let's just say that so far, I've seen a good one, and I've seen a bad one. So the scales are relatively even, and so long as we ain't got nothing, hopefully no third dragons coming up anytime soon. But I'm getting sidetracked here. I did want to let you in on a little something something. When I was talking to Yavindale yesterday, she said that we had some Emerald Enclave folks over in the Elmswood Forest, and yeah, them that fire we saw when we were floating down the River Liss, yeah, that was caused by evocation blast, and that there's smoke out there that seems to fight back and take shape. Really, Yavindel was saying that it was a wasteland of sorts. So I don't know. It's making me a little nervous about this whole Zor Kolkin or something like that. If the place was really flattened, kind of curious how she got out so scot free.
This can't be. No. No, this can't be coincidence. Receiving a message from Ilmater and then you receive this the next day. No. This. Hmm. My question then is if Ilmater wants me to go there or if he's warning about this coming to us.
I don't want to speak for Ilmater, obviously, but I would. My guess is more towards the latter. Fire spreads, right? It gets bigger and takes over more and more things. And last time I saw it, looked like Elmwood was still smoking. So, and it's been just unseasonably hot here, and I've been in some swampy places and haven't felt my legs stick together quite like they have been doing today. So, all I know is that Yavindale said that her and Burl Ka were, doing some work over in Elmswood, and that the best thing that I can do right now is find out how it happened and who's responsible. Unfortunately, I think our best lead at the point, right now, is having a conversation with that Zora. But I'm pretty much sworn off talking to Zors or Zoras or nobility in this town because, yeah, I think my gaffer put it well. This city is a mean city, even if it comes by it honestly. And honestly, I don't feel like getting kicked in the chest or worse anytime soon. So I think that we're gonna have to kick that over to Freddie or Jasper for something like that.
Exactly. I'm sure they could be of help in terms of getting somewhere in the city, but, well, I frankly don't think I have any way of making well with them other than our friends here. They're certainly not the type that I think we would typically just go and see each other at a bar at, you know? Certainly not without them kicking you like they did last time.
Right. And if we
Yeah.
can't go high, maybe we can go low. If those folks are taking up the fancy streets, maybe we go back over to that. Uh, what was it? The Lean and Boot. Try and find Mixie. Maybe even if uh, if that young Zor is still out there and about. You know, I I like you have forsaken coincidence at this point. I got a sneaking suspicion that more things are connected and moving at a larger pace than is immediately evident at this point. So maybe trying to see what some of the folks that were involved with that odd fire cult thing we experienced in the Zent Ghetto might be a worthy way to spend some of our time.
Hmm. Well, give
It's
me
either
just
that or
one
day
moment on.
drinking. So
Give me a moment on that. And Rornak will open the chest real quick, and you'll see him like almost kind of like start to ease as his eyes start to kind of close in trance. And I will go ahead and focus on it, Dom, and ask it, uh, is my best course to pursue these individuals with Jove?
Um, you pick up the finger bones, the coin, and the die, and you hold and you meditate and you uh, press it all into your hands until they start to hurt, and you um, drop it all down. You open your eyes and you see the Ilmater coin spinning and spinning until it stops and it's upright. The finger bones, half of them point towards, half of them point away. The dice all the way out to the side, and you get the sensation of weal and woe.
Hmm. Seems to be mixed messages here.
well, when we can't rely on others, we got to rely on ourselves. What's your gut saying, Ronak?
Hmm. My gut, after what I hear now from Ilmater as he closes the box, it seems like this is both a good idea, but he may wish to do more as well. Perhaps it's not. It might be something to do, but maybe it might not be necessarily enough. We could both do that or could split up, but what else would they want me to do? To seek someone else? To seek more allies? That's where I'm not sure.
That makes two of us. Really, this is the only lead I got right now, and I haven't really heard hide nor hair of Jasper or Freddy. I'm not sure. Everything happened. It's kind of a little awkward last night too. I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see him today, but
Well, my honest guess is that hmm. I think we should go see them, but Jove, I would come prepared. I have a sneaking suspicion that something is off with all of this. So, if you need to gather your things, let's do that, and then, well, we can give it a visit. If I feel like something will either be apparently off there, or maybe we'll have a better idea of where to go after that.
agreed. I think it might be a little early in the day to. Well, I don't even know what time it is. It's what, early afternoon, something like that.
Yeah, around this time, it's probably 3 or 4. It's in the afternoon, but it's by no means evening.
You know what? Yeah, I mean, we can get ready, go now. Now I'm not sure what kind of crowd we're going to be seeing at the Lean and Boot, and this might be something that's a little better done with the the crowd kind of hiding us. we could always hang out here for a little bit longer, see if Jasper or Freddy turn up, and then once the sun goes down, we can make that little walk on over to the lead and boot and be prepared for a tussle.
Yeah, probably for the best. I hate to waste time on it, but it's no use going in ill-favored and short-handed, I suppose.
Agreed. Sometimes the best course of action is just to sit on your tush and wait for something to show up.
All right then. Well, sounds like a plan to me, friend. I suppose I need a drink to start this morning now.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go. You put a little fire in me, so I'm gonna go and get myself at least ready to move pretty quickly, just in case we do gotta get out of here. So, hold down the fort for me for a couple minutes as I go and get myself in my adventuring.
Do what you gotta do.
Joe will get up and return to his room.
So, Rory and Jove, you guys take turns. Rory, you're already dressed to go, but Jove, you go through and get your affairs together. Rory, you order a drink. It's a weird concoction of part Full Sail, part juice. Go ahead and roll me a Constitution saving throw.
Of course. This one is a 15.
A 15? Out of all the things you've had here, this might actually be your favorite.
Finally found something that kind of sits well.
Let's see if you can keep 2 of these down in a single session. I might have been just turned on to something. So you have a couple of those. Jasper, we'll return to you as Kirk gets you back into your room and shuts the door behind you. So, how you feeling after that?
He pisses me off so much. But nothing has gone wrong. In fact, it all went quite well. We tried to pry some information from him, well, rather Freddy, but for the sake of us both and our friends. And that went well, at least, although the end kind of had a bitter note to it. I found out who my suitors are.
Yeah, that sounds like you got something more to say about them besides the obvious. So, who are they?
Well, I'm sure you heard that one of their last names is Goss, Andric Goss.
Oh, you mean the fucking painter?
Yeah, a complete tool. Perhaps easily manipulated, but being so close, being related to Fulton is not ideal. In fact, I shudder at the thought. The one shining beacon is that Sebastian Stowe might be able to be worked with. He hates it here in Mulmaster and actually is in love with a woman from Flan, if I'm not mistaken. If I can make that relationship work, if I can convince him that we would both be better off married than not. The future's looking up, Kirk. Hopefully, if I can play my cards right.
There's not a lot of times I say this, but you humans with your marriages are fucking weird. Fucking weird.
Yes, I'm not terribly fond of it either, but anything to get out from under Fulton's boot. Which, speaking of Fulton, since we're planning on not being here forever, I was wondering if you could just send out feelers and see if anyone in this household, working in this household, is at all aware of anything that the Zor keeps in his private study. Whether that's a particular treasure of his or anything else. No pressure, but do what you can. Don't put yourself out there, of course, but
I know you well enough to know that you don't ask that kind of question unless you never want to be seen here again, so I'll keep it in mind.
Well, we've got to keep you out of that house of pain, don't we?
High House of Hurling, but I'm not one to be particular. House of Pain, House of High Hurling, all of it sounds fucking awful, so yeah, I'll put out some feelers and see what we can get, but good fucking luck. There's one thing the Goss is fucking good at besides giving way too hard fucking handshakes. It's keeping that office closed. Fuck, I don't even know if your mom gets in there. Anyways, how long is it until you get out of here? I could tell you're itching to get out of it, considering you've already taken off half your dress. You're not even behind your fucking armoire.
Yeah, she's already like putting on the duster and like stuff. I won't be out long. I'm not going on a trip or anything. That dress was a mite stifling, and it's so much easier to breathe out there.
Put on a dust. You know what? I'll save it. I'll save it when you get back. Hopefully this time you'll actually have something, to hurt you with.
We shall see what I come back with.
You get into as much of your gear as you have kept with you. Kirk puts on the mask and assumes your face and gets into your kind of large canopied bed with the actual curtains that go over it and everything. And it's like, well, I will be here when you get back. Probably bought yourself some time today. I mean, you made it a whole 2 hours, Lapis. Look at you.
A monumental effort. And she
Fucking
goes
get out
through
of
the pipe. She does.
And you are out of the Zor Estates, almost moments after the carriage begins. In fact, you see the carriage, which you know, of course, is yours and who's inside, and you're able to follow it, almost keep up with it. It can't go very fast in the streets of Mulmaster. While plenty of people get out of the way, it's still taking a full-drawn carriage through crowded city streets, even if it is hotter than shit outside. So it's not long before you follow it, and it makes a stop outside of the Oxpit Tavern, and you see Freddy hop out. And Freddy, as you step out of the carriage in front of the Oxpit Tavern, you make it halfway to the door before, like a shadow, there is Jasper, not far away from you, to your side.
How'd you get here so soon?
None of your business, you cheeky shit. She goes inside.
Fair enough.
And as you two enter, you can see Jove is heading back down, full adventuring gear, on. Rory, you can see, has... Rory, roll me a d4.
That's a 1.
Roll me 1 Constitution saving throw.
That's a 17.
You see Rory with 2 completely empty mugs in front of him, and one's not even flat. There's one where somebody else is sitting, and 2 in front of him, and you see Rory slam back the end of this mug and then put it upside down and raise up a finger for another. And you're pretty sure that's the most amount of drinks you've ever seen Rory be able to drink in a single setting that wasn't tea or water.
That didn't make him immediately throw up.
That's the most impressive part. You're waiting for it. In fact, you both take a stop, and you wait, and you start counting, like 1, 2, 3. And Crewmeg comes over and hands him a 3rd mug.
Whoa.
Jasper catches herself on a table to not fall over out of shock.
It's a deep fake. Deep fake.
It's got to be water, right?
Crewmeg, I'm not lying. This
It's
is
gotta
some.
be water, right?
I think
Oh,
it's
my throat.
it's some kind of deep fake for sure.
Yeah, no, this is I'm about as surprised as you are. I mean, hell, Rory, you've put down 2 of these, and the whole staff has been watching. We've never seen you put down 2 of anything.
Yeah, I did a gut check on my end and rolled a 19. So yeah, Ronak is just like, I'm not gonna lie to you, Crewmeg. This tastes amazing.
Yeah, no, Jove was right. It did need a little bit more of a. Well, see, I was running kind of low on lemon juice, and so I had a little bit of actual some other citruses they called a bitter fruit. Some people say it's a grapefruit, but it ain't no look nothing like a grape, so I'm not gonna believe that or shit. But you throw a little bit of bitter fruit with a little bit of that lemon, and just a little bit of sugar, throw that in there. I mean, hell, Rory, I think almost every single person at that bar is drinking one of these.
Hey, whatever you did, it's working for me. I mean, I know I'm picky with this, but I I don't know if I should keep going after this, but I feel like I almost could.
I almost have to to name it after you. Rornack. Rornack Shandy. I like the full Shandy, don't get me wrong, but I feel it's almost like it'll bring in more people if I name it after you. Something even the vomit comet to hold down. Now that's a fucking story. Good on you, and slaps you on the back. This last one's on me, thank you.
Huh.
Actually,
I've
I'm lying.
never.
I'm gonna need you to pay for that right now. Sorry.
Is that out? Is that out of? Is that out of like my work or?
Yeah, no, you're still squared up for that. If you're gonna pay for another night, but the drinks ain't free.
Gotcha. Well, I've never had anything named after me, so I'll take the honor where I can on that one. What about you two? You want to try out the Rornak as he holds up the 3rd mug?
I assume that's directed to Jasper and Freddy.
Yes, I was directed at them.
He's asking if we wanted to drink. Sorry, I missed it.
Yeah,
Yes, he's asking
specifically,
if
do you want to try
Rornak.
the
Oh
Rornak?
yeah. Jasper kind of jumps at the chance to try whatever he is managing to keep down. So yeah, she sits down next to him. Lay it on me.
Freddy?
I think I've had enough to drink tonight.
Gotcha. As crew mag is heading back. Jove, you're gonna have a Rornak?
Oh, so that's the name, is it?
Yeah, the fact that he's about to put down a 3rd one without covering my floor and anything, yeah. Now that's worth a name.
Well, hey, yeah, sure. I'll take another one. If anybody, how about this though? If anybody asks how you came up with it, tell them a halfling told you a secret.
Ancient halfling secret, got it.
And yeah, he'll come up and sit on the table with everybody.
And it's not too long until there's a Rornak in everyone but Freddy's hands.
You would have a brew like this back home on hot days like this. You just add in a little bit of juice and some sugar, and you got a little bit of a nice quenchy drink. And so bottoms up if you so please. And taste a bit of my culture.
Jasper and Jove, go ahead and roll me Constitution saving throws. Rornak, you're fine.
Thank you.
That is a halfling crit fail of a 2 for 5.
Ooh, Jove, it's only gotten worse.
And
Yeah, you put that back, and you're just like, you get all of it, and then you feel all of that, and you're just like, ooh, that is bitter. That's right there. It's just real dunder bitter. And you put that down. You watch Rory slam that bad boy back. Jasper?
12.
A 12? It's not it's all right. To be honest, you got this is Molemaster fare, and the part of you that hates yourself the most is what a palate you got from all those years being Azora. So you're like, it's not bad, but it's not good. You're like, you hear your mother's voice in your head. Oh, this is what poor people drink.
Oh, damn.
which like that pushes her to drink it like faster and force herself to it and enjoy it more than she would otherwise, just out of spite.
We have them back home, but it takes a little bit to get the ratio right. Yeah, did you folks get some good rest last night? Or Rornak right here, I think he would have slept right through the day had I not knocked on his door.
Yeah, it was certainly an evening for me, but how about you two? How have your affairs been?
Yeah, buddy, how are affairs?
I mean, the affairs are fine. I got us a meeting with the Zora that we need to talk to from Elmswood.
Well, hey, that's certainly progress. I believe last time I saw y'all, we were just trying to figure out where the fuck she was. So, where is she?
She's. Man, I should have written that down.
The traveler's cloak, I gotcha.
Traveler's cloak. I knew he told me, but I just didn't write it down.
I got you.
Traveler's cloak. Yeah, she's at the Traveler's cloak over on the other side of town. It's not too bad.
Oh, on the ritzy part of town, right?
I mean, there's Ritz spattered here and there.
Well, that's great news. That we're making some forward movement on that. I was telling Rornak earlier that I got in contact with my Emerald Enclave folks, and they're actually on the ground over in Elmwood right now. And Freddie, you might find this interesting, but they said that there are signs of evocation magic that look like went off over there, and that pretty much the whole place is flattened, and that there is smoke taking shape and choking out the life of people that are still managing to run around there. And essentially, they were telling me that there's not much to filter around through over there, and so uh, the best way that I could help would be to figure out who done it and how they did it. And seems like the only lead right now we got is that Zora, and all that's to say that you know, whether or not you want the likes of myself and Rornak to accompany you to a ritzy part of town to talk to a fancy person, you should keep your head on a swivel, because I don't know, the whole she managed to get out of there type of thing seems a little scary, but I don't know. If anybody should be able to get away from a town burning down real quick, it would be the Zora, somebody of that stature. So, you know, uh, I know you can take care of yourself, Freddie, but just wanted to make sure that your antenna was standing at full attention, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think I got it.
On the flip side, uh, Rornak and I were actually just talking a little bit about how we might be able to help if you don't. I don't know. I'll just lay my cards on the table. I'm not really looking forward to talking to a Zor or anything like that, but we did, uh, you know, make some friends, right, with Ilva and Mixie, and they were part of that weird fire cult thing, and if there's a lead or anything that we can get from one of them, or even that Sebastian Stowe guy, if he's still uh, popping around with them down in the ghetto, we might could suss something out while you're talking to the lady.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
sounds good. I mean, I'll do my part. I'll talk to the lady, but whatever you do, I think that you have a good intuition for what needs to be done.
a life on the road means running a tight ship if you can, making sure that time's not a waste. And plus, I don't know about y'all, but this place has only gotten sweatier and sweatier since we got back into the bay last night. So, fire spreads and all that, and if we were dealing with watery folks that were trying to like recall some elemental goddess thing, could be dealing with something similar over there in Elmswood. Just trying to
Hmm.
keep ourselves sharp, heads on a swivel, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
For
Yeah, I'm
your meeting
thinking.
with the Zora, I'll accompany you, and we can just call me your armed guard for your status.
That could work. Yeah. Um. Yeah.
I think that's a good idea. That way, you know, just in case things do go south, you got somebody with a mighty sharp axe right next to you.
Yeah, I wouldn't want anything happening to little Freddy here, and she like pats him on the head.
Uh,
Yeah. I think that's a plan.
Hell yeah!
Have
So,
my bodyguard. Have some other people get more info. Talk to the Zora. See what I can find.
well, I know that I'm set up for a room here tonight, kind of conditionally. I figure it's already most of the daylight's burnt away anyway, so I'm all for meeting in the moonlight and all that. If you get done and there's something pressing that you need to let us know. Else, I don't know when y'all want to meet up again.
Uh, was the meeting with oh, it wasn't a like timed meeting. We're just going to that tavern, right?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Then probably I don't know, maybe meet back here tonight or just in the morning whenever we're all done with our bullshit.
That sounds fair. If we haven't seen each other in about a day, then we know something's up.
I'm
Yeah.
comfortable with that.
Mhm.
Sounds good to me.
Um, Freddy, if you don't mind chilling for a little bit, I got a couple errands to run before we go meet the Zora.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, unless DM, you have a reason for me to stick around right now. I think she's gonna get up and go do that now.
Yeah, what errands did you have in mind?
Stopping by the Shrine of Mask and then letting Equars know that we have kind of a foot in the door.
Yeah, it's easy enough just to keep moving
Sure.
for both of those things to happen. The Shrine of Mask is the one that's you go there first. I assume are you switching out to different clothing?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, from the duster and mirror mask to something else.
Okay. Roll me a D100 if you'd like to get a new mask.
Would gladly. That's going to be a 21.
A 21. 21. Okie dokie. Roll me a D10.
Okey-doke. 5.
5. Okay. Um, this, yeah, funnily enough, is a bandaged mask. It's a mask of bandage wrappings that have some strands hanging off of it. They all appear to be clean. It's an interesting kind of make where it ties in 3 places, kind of in the back. Like almost like the bandages make like a plaster to it.
Hmm.
As you put the mirrored mask down and put that one on.
Okey-doke.
Yeah, looking around, you return the duster and just get some rather basic clothes. Instead of kind of the heavier wear that you're used to, you just keep it to the armor, just a single, very light cloak, the same kind of um, light tanness, the same kind of color as the bandages, the bandage maps, and just something light that's not going to hold a lot of heat like your other stuff. You can already tell underneath your duster and some of your armor you are sweating bullets.
Thankful for that then.
Yeah, if anything, it's kind of nice the bandages kind of soak up some of the sweat. It clings to your face real well after a good walk, and you stop by the Black Blade, and you just stop in. It's the same, almost the same exact number of patrons there. It is sweltering in the Zent ghetto. It's just absolutely sweltering, even as it is now moving into evening. And this time you go to the bar, and it's not Ekwars who knocks on kind of a booth behind you, and you turn around, and there's Ekwars who motions for you to take a seat, and you just give him a heads up about what's going down, and there's a sharpness to a smile, like a cat who's just spied a mouse, and just kind of nods and sticks out a hand and says, "Now that means that we will be in touch." And slips the finger, except he slips 2 fingers underneath this time.
Can I intuit what that might mean?
This one you have 0 clue.
Okay.
You do the same, and then he slips 2 kind of. You put the middle finger, and then he takes the ring and the pointer finger, index finger, and slips in beside. So it's almost like a 3-prong, and shakes, and he does make one thing. Make sure you keep a gold coin on you, depending on how successful you are.
That should be pretty doable.
Good. Then we'll be seeing you soon, Jasper.
See you soon, of course.
And you make your way out of the Zent ghetto, where it is slightly less sweltering. And it's not long before you make it back to the Oxpit Tavern with your increased movement speed. So, Jove and Rory, you are heading towards the Leaning Boot to go look for Mixie and... Oh, gosh. Ilva, yes. Ilva, Mixie, Ma, the cast of characters at the Leaning Boots, and Jasper and Freddy, you are heading over to the Traveler's Cloak, correct?
Yes.
Sounds
Okay,
right
okay.
to me. Yeah.
Then we'll go low to high on this one. Jove and Rornak, you get together. Both of you mark off 2 gold as you settle up your tabs, hold the room for the evening, and make your way over to the Leaning Boots, closer to the Bay of Mulmaster, and of course one of the rougher parts of town. You see the singular nailed boot. No words, no signs, just the nailed boot on this kind of half-sunken in quasi-basement bar. And you walk in, and there's a number of dock workers, and pretty much half the people in here don't have shirts on, or just have, the completely undone front of a shirt. I mean, it is just so musky in here. And of course, plenty of people have pipes out, and it's smoky and musky and sweaty, and you can see a number of individuals. There's not even the typical brawls you see, as most people are, just pounding away drinks. As you see, Mixie and Ilva are making their ways around, both, wearing different outfits that have, full arms and shoulders like exposed, closer to, almost more shorts than your typical, server's outfit. Says it's just miserable in here. It's almost like it sucked the energy out of the room. You even see, a familiar looking orc, this time without a blade in his shoulder, who is not drunkenly slumped over, but just, it's almost got like the mouth hangs extra open. It's like, he's got the drink and then just kind of keeps his body on the table, but pours the drink into the open mouth without lifting his head up. It's just miserable in here. And you hear a kind of cracked, raspy voice from behind the bar. Ah, the fucking halfling with his greenish not orc friends. Welcome back to the Leaning Boots.
It's always a pleasure, Ma. Is there, and Jove's gonna look around. Is there like an open table anywhere?
Yeah, you find an open table, with one good seat and one seat that looks like it's on the verge of breaking.
And Jove is gonna kind of rustle around and get out a gold coin and kind of put it on the table and slide it over to Ma and say, "Hey, Ma, I was wondering if Mixie or Ilva might have a 5-minute break coming up." And he kind of like raises an eyebrow and kind of like moves his head in the direction of the open table.
Yeah, well, you don't want to talk to Elva right now. She's a fucking wreck. So I'll send over Mixie to come have a chat with you.
Much appreciated. And Jove's gonna look back at Rornak. You feeling ill, or you drank up for today?
I struck lightning 3 times today. I don't know if I should try a 4th.
Okay, let's keep it even-handed. And he'll nod to Ma and head over to the table.
You go over and Ma does just this real clearing of the throats, and sooner rather than later, Mixie, whose hair still does have some streaks of the aforementioned like old red dye in it, but the roots have definitely come back in much darker. Goes over and gets a singular mug and then grabs the second one and goes over and with some grace and ease, with a mug in each hand, uses her foot and pulls over one good chair from a mostly packed table, and some of the individuals there look up, see it's her, and then just kind of nod as she uses her foot to pull the chair over, sits down in it, puts one mug in front of you, Jove, and holds the other for herself, and says, "So what can I do for you?"
Well, howdy, Mixie. It's a pleasure to see you doing well. Looks like business is booming.
Yeah, it's too fucking hot for my take, but it's good to see you too, Jove.
Yeah, I think it's about too hot for everybody, and in fact, heat is part of the reason my friend Rornak in here and I are here right now.
I think the mask's kind of creepy, don't you think, Ronak?
I rather like it.
Hey, suit yourself. I don't know how you're doing it with the whole... Feels like it's a bajillion degrees out here. I can even got all my scars on display today. And you can see that she is, now that her arms are more exposed and she has more skin exposed than normally would in Mole Master. Yeah, she's pretty cut up. And there's some, what you would guess, some nasty scimitar marks on her.
Yeah, well, for me, I wear the mask because I could either sweat it out or have people continue to call me the green skin not orc. One or the other.
Jove's gonna kind of put his hand up on Rornak's shoulder and say, "Buddy, for what it's worth, I think the mask completes the look. So you got a good thing going." But we didn't walk all the way down.
Rornak will remember that. Son.
Rornak like that.
Well, we didn't walk all the way down here just to fluff each other up. yeah, this heat, and I'm not. I don't want to hold anybody to the sins of of their past once they have fully repented. But I was wondering, Mixie. Well, I'll just come right out and say it. You do you still got any connections with that old, you know what I'm talking about? And he'll kind of uh gesture like to his beard and go, fire and all that.
I know what you're talking about, Jove, and abso-fucking-lutely not. Alright, the last time I got mixed in with that because of Ilva, almost fucking died. Alright, so listen, fool me once, shame on. Shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on fucking me. So, no. I can't say that I've run into that dwarf that we're talking about.
And what about your friend Ilva? Sounds like she's had a rough time lately.
Yeah, it turns out Sebastian's got apparently a real suitor now, or some sort of, I don't know, fucking Zor thing. Apparently he's having an arranged marriage set up right now, and it's getting pretty serious, so she's, well, I think, especially after all the shit that we went through, I think we can both understand why she'd be upset.
That's some rough getting. Yeah, sorry to hear about that on both of their parts. I know Seb had quite a lot of love for that girl, so I'm sure that's not easy on him either. But
Yeah, no, there's some people who spend their whole lives wishing that they could be a fucking noble, but after seeing stuff like that, I think I like it just fine, free and dandy here down in the gutter.
well, Mixie, it's pleasing to my ears that it seems that you have learned not to get yourself mixed in with folk like that are going to get you hurt. But I know that you didn't spend too much time there, but you know, have you heard what's happened over in Elmswood?
I mean, same as just about anybody, you know. We get a lot of sailors in here, so they say that you can see the smoke for miles in every direction. In fact, I hear if you go up on the wall, you can look from Mulmaster all the way over there and still see parts of it burning. So,
Huh.
yeah, I've heard all sorts of tales, you know. Some think that some say it must be demons from over in the ruins of Mitranor. Some say, it's the remnants of, the Netherese come back to stir up more trouble. Some say it's a fucking dragon. Bad enough we already have one on one side of the Moon Sea. Now a second one over here, but, sailors are a superstitious lot. So take everything they say with a grain of salt.
No one from Elmswood or that area coming around here, though, right?
Not that I know of. At
Well,
least nobody who's out and about shouting from it.
what's your gut tell you about this whole thing, Mixie? Think back to your time while you were, hanging out with that guy. Speaking of which, did you ever catch that guy's name, that dwarf's name?
Nah, sorry, Jove. I learned my lessons, only need to learn them once. So I put that behind me, just like I put my seafaring adventures behind me. But if my gut had to tell me anything, no warning, burn the whole thing down, no survivors, well then, I know this is gonna sound shitty to say, but that sounds like an accident. No declaration of your intent, no looting, you just in a farming community at that. I don't know. If you ask me, something went wrong and that was not intended. that's just me. Maybe it's the old adventuring days in it, but I don't see any profit in just blowing up the whole thing. Like, if anything, you could have raided the whole thing and at least taken some of the stuff. You know, at least on the very barest minimum, like the food. But that's the old me talking.
Well, if memory serves, you said that there was something about the company of those folk that kind of what was it? Built up a sense of fiery passion in oneself, a kind of fire in one's breast, as it were.
Yeah, talking about letting your passions burn. That only you can start the fire of your heart. That big kind of flowery shit that when you feel like you got nothing left sounds real impressive. I mean, it was impressive at the time.
Hmm. Do you know if
But
there's any of them that are still left around here, or are they
oh,
all gone?
I'd fucking believe it. Listen, nothing good is happening over in the Zen ghettos between the Flan refugees, between the City Watch, the high taxes. I mean, hell, there used to be a fucking temple to Sirik inside the Zen ghettos, and that should fucking tell you everything you need to know about how bad things are there.
Does Joe know who that god is?
Go ahead, you both roll me religion.
Cool. That's a crit fail.
Yeah, you have no idea, Rory.
I got an 8.
In 8, Sirik is he's a dark god. You're pretty sure of murder, but that's about it. The type of gods that you just a normal folk stay away from.
Well, Mixie, our Warnak and our intention wasn't to come here and press you to make you do something that you don't want to do or anything like that. But we are, as you can tell, even in your own words, you know, things aren't really going well in the city. And what happens in the ghetto doesn't stay in the ghetto, and fire spreads and all of that. If 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 you decide that maybe the days of adventuring seem a little more interesting than I don't know, slinging brews to salty pirates, we've got a little organization that we've been working on, and we've been making some pretty good gold. And you don't got to answer us now, but we'll be coming back through the lean and boot. And if there's ever a time that you want to maybe earn a little extra cash on the side, and frankly, you don't even have to, put your life in danger. Sometimes just having a set of helpful ears can be nice. And he's gonna like look over and see if he can catch Ma's eyes or anything to see if she's like staring daggers at him.
Oh, Ma's not even paying attention. You see her pull. You see the kind of the cherry of her pipe like almost catch a light and in an impossibly long inhale and then an impossibly long like exhale. Just.
Well, if you ever feel like getting out of this, smoked-filled hole, just let us know. And we've been bothering you enough and probably eating into your tips and whatnot. So, I hope you can accept this as a little payment for your time. And Jove's gonna fish out another gold and hand it over to her.
I'll keep it in mind, Jove, but listen, I don't understand halflings, and typically not met a lot of halfling adventurers, but that life catches up to you. And all the gold in the world can't buy you those years you lose. So, I'll think about it, but I'm not going to make any promises I don't intend to keep. But I'll give Ilva your regards. And she finishes her drink, waits for you to finish yours.
It was a pleasure as always, Mixie. You have yourself a good night, and please do give Ilva our heartfelt regards.
Yes. Thank you for the time.
She nods, collects your mug, takes it onto the back, and goes over to Ilva and says something to her, and she turns and she gives a wave, and you can just tell that girl is, when you see somebody and they're clearly going through it,
Yeah.
and it's just like for both of you, it's like ooh, oh. Then she looks like she's about to shake for a second, and Mixie puts a hand on her, presses that gold from you, Jove, into her hand that you see, and puts her hands around her own and claps it there, and points to the back, and you see Ilva goes out through like behind a ways and out of sight, and Mixie begins picking up all the rest of the tables and getting things moving. And it's just you and Rory, Jove.
What do you think? We taking another stop before the end of the night, or should we head back?
Well, I don't know. I'm kind of plumb out of ideas of who else we could talk to. Is there any folks that you think we could pester for information?
Well, besides our little Zor that we know of directly, sounds like possibly looking around the Zen ghetto for our flame-bearded friends from before. Not sure if that's necessarily our best bet, but it's a place we can check for more options. Might be nice to have some Zen trim strings being pulled on that one with Jasper, though.
Yeah, frankly, I can't stand that guy Eckworth. He is just something about him makes my skin crawl. He's kind of like reminds me of some of the merchant sons that I would meet out on the road that just so full in themselves and think that they know how to wheel and deal and ugh. But I will admit I am tempted to go in the Zent ghetto, but I think caution is going to get the better of me. Say we did stumble upon some of them dwarves we were looking for. I don't know quite what we would do, and in fact, I I think they at least know my face. You've taken to hiding yours, and I don't know what they would want to do with me if they found somebody that killed a couple of their kin. At least without the full strength of our whole party.
I hope you know, I don't expect that talk to go over nicely. Nor would I really want to talk nice with them, for that matter. But it is a place to look for information if we need to get information.
Well, Gornak, what do you think? Yeah, you decided to follow me here and take a chance on getting some info this way, and if you feel confident in our little dynamic duo we got going here, and if traipsing around the Zent ghetto, you know what, I can buck up uh, and swallow the fear a little bit, as it were.
Hmm. And he thinks on for a second, and then he looks at you and says, "You think we've learned a thing or two from Jasper?
Got
Because if you,
more than a thing or two.
well, if we've got some time, I guess it doesn't hurt to ask a little bit. And then if we need to come back later, maybe we could bring the crew if we know that we need perhaps a little more strength. That's a way of putting it. Muscle? That's the word."
Sounds about right. I think as long as we keep a low profile, we should be good. Easier for me than you. And he kind of elbows you, Rornak.
Yeah, I might need to change this outfit sometime. The mask stays though, and thank you for that. I appreciate you backing me up there. I like
Oh, hey,
the he sort of says it like under the breath a bit, like I like the mask.
It's a good look, and that's what friends are for. If you look silly, I would tell you so. So all right, well let's brave this night and see if we can uncover a little gold in the Zent Ghetto.
All right. Well, let's not waste any more time then.
As you guys leave the Leaning Boot and head towards the Zent Ghetto, we'll return back to our Lap siblings. The carriage is still waiting for you out front of the Oxpit Tavern. So as you make your way back, the footman asks you, Freddy, once of course Jasper makes her return. Where to, sir?
Uh, I thought I was muted. We're going to the Traveler's Cloak.
Ah, fine establishment, sir. Excellent choice. Of course, the Traveler's Cloak. And you head into the carriage, and Jasper, you begin to head up, and I'm sorry, sir?
The rich boy, he hired me to make sure he stayed safe.
She's
Sir.
telling the truth.
Ah, but very well. And moves himself out of the way and allows you into the carriage.
You want some wine courtesy of Papa?
That shit's a bit fancy for my taste.
Fine by me.
Um, so, you enter in the carriage, and Jasper, for you, but you've been in this carriage a bajillion times.
Yeah.
So you make your way from the bumpy, kind of uneven parts of Mulemaster around the Oxpit Tavern to the finely paved roads of the ritzier part. And if we look on our map,
I like to think when Jasper realized she was getting on this carriage, she like made a point to like step through a puddle of mud or something to like get her boots nice and fucking gross.
great, nice.
Sorry for interrupting. I just needed to say that.
So the Traveler's Inn is right here. So the Oxpit Tavern is up here, and kind of the dock area with the Leaning Boot not too terribly far away. And then you make your way down here, and then here is the Traveler's Cloak Inn. One of, if not the nicest establishments in all Mulemaster. You are pulled up in front of the high-end inn. The door is opened up for the both of you, with the footman placing the stool back down for you guys to step into kind of the finery of this area. And as you enter into the Traveler's Cloak, it is very much like stepping into a different world from kind of the squalor of the docks, or even just the, by comparison, mediocrity of the Oxpit Tavern. The bar is a single slab of polished marble, and the furnishings within the common room are finely carved and stained oak of the highest quality. Bordering the common area of the Traveler's Cloak are a dozen booths, the benches of which are bed-necked in plush upholstery. Each booth features a set of heavy velvet curtains for the sake of privacy, and a small bell that could be rung from the inside of the booth to summon the waitstaff. As it is later in the evening, at this time of day, the booths are rather empty. And for the most part, today's no different. At the far side of the room, surrounded on both sides by empty booths, there is a singular older woman who is more or less one of the few people actually in here. Even in the Traveler's Cloak, with as nice as it all is, the heat has yet to dissipate. Even the very kind of stone of the area just feels like it's soaking it in. And just like the Oxpit Tavern and some other places you've seen, business seems to be rather slow. You are directed by a few of the attendants, straight to the bar. And some of you, all of them, give you, Jasper, very, very obvious and not well hidden, like, looks of alarm, disdain, contempt, all ranges. I mean, you can very much think of the ones that do smile. It's very much like that noble smile from Name of the Wind. It's like, ooh, save that one for later. That's a special type of fuck you behind a smile.
Oh, totally.
Led to a younger woman who is in almost like all the staff here wear almost completely white to match kind of the marble and the settings, and perfectly white, not a speck of dirt, dust, or grime anywhere. A younger human woman who says, "May I help you? Do you have a reservation?"
No, I'm just hanging out, and I'm gonna pull out the letter from Zorgos.
And she takes the letter, and her expression of kind of mild annoyance turns to immediate attention and poise as, "Ah, from Zorgos." And she reads it, and, "Of course, we are happy to be at your service. I will direct you momentarily. May I interest you in any sort of fare while you are here in the Traveler's Cloak? Your room will be prepared in just a moment."
Sorry, my headset disconnected. I missed all of that.
When did you last miss off?
Basically, once I finished what I said.
She takes your letter, and her demeanor of slight bordering on disdain turns into one of poised grace as she becomes alert and says, "Ah, the symbol of Zorgos. Yes, of course. I will begin preparing your room, sir. And in the meantime, is there any sort of fare I may interest you in? You will be escorted to Zorakolkin post haste."
Thank you.
For you, sir, she says sir uncertainly towards you, Jasper.
Oh,
Jasper
this
just
is
looks at her.
yeah. This is my god. You don't need to worry about them. As long as nobody does anything with me. But I'm sure you see plenty of bodyguards in an establishment such as this one with such high level of folk.
It is not uncommon, but peculiar surrounding the circumstances, but I'm sure Zorgos has his reasons for the uniqueness of this encounter. All right. If you excuse me just a moment, I was just sure there's nothing I can get you in the meantime.
No, I'm just really wanting to talk to the Zora.
Yes, of course. And she moves, and there's as she moves back from the bar, a number of individuals walk forward, and she quickly directs them. And as they move off through other parts of the Traveler's Cloak, she comes around from the bar and, "This way, please," and leads you, and heads down to that far booth, the singularly occupied one. And she goes and, "Excuse me, Zora Koken. At the behest of Zorgos, an audience has been requested to you. May I introduce Zorgos's stepson, Freddy Lap, and his bodyguard." I apologize for the intrusion, but I'm sure you understand the importance of Zorgos's patron. And as she begins to kind of stumble along, Zora Kolkin, who is a woman, she appears to be probably in her late 40s. Her hair is exceptionally dark, almost to the point of being dyed, bringing up the question of whether or not it's dyed. Very much you can think Oh, who of us watched the season of Archer right before Dreamland? Veronica Stone. Anybody for
Mm,
Veronica Stone? Picking up that
oh,
reference?
yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
So very much this. Yes, she is older, but not nearly to the laughable levels that the Goss is made it out to be. As she puts a hand. I think that's gonna be just fine. So you go ahead and take you and your Goss letter. It'll be just fine. Don't worry about it. All right. Let's see what that buffoon Goss has to say. Take your fucking seat.
We
Did
do,
I
I
stutter?
imagine.
Take your seat.
We do.
Good. Now what the fuck do you want?
Uh, just so this is just gonna be a conversation. This isn't us interrogating you or anything. So don't get too feisty.
Well, you know, Zorgos is a real dickhead, so I imagine that he's only here because he wants something, so pardon me.
Oh, is he here? I didn't see him.
Hey, whatever this fucking thing you're doing is, if you're gonna bother me, you can turn around and head right the fuck out. Alright, it's
That's the
bad
whole
enough that I'm
thing.
gonna get called on by Zorgos, but now I gotta listen to your shit. So either come cleanly or get the fuck out. Cause this is not an audience for you. I don't have to do this. So put your shit together. Cause I'm not playing with you, boy. And she
My
can
shit is
tell that she is
together.
just fucking. She's haggard.
Yeah.
Like, while she does look put together, like, she is. She looks like she has had a rough couple of days. You can see a number of empty wine glasses by her.
So I'll say it again. Zorgos isn't here. He's literally just the name that got me into this place. Yes, he is my stepfather. No, I don't give a fuck who he is. I just really wanted to talk to you and have a conversation. So attitudes are not helping. It's just making things take longer. And if it's bothering you, maybe you want me to get out of here faster.
Alright, shoot your shot, kid.
Uh, just first thing is, why do you hate Mole Master so much other than my stepdad? Because apparently you don't take too kindly to him.
Because Mole Master is one of the fucking meanest places on the face of the earth, and he'll stab you in the front and the back at the same time. So, you know the saying, take what you can get while you can get it, because who knows what's promised tomorrow? There's a better one. You know, it says that if you're born in Mole Master, you'll die in Mole Master. But you can't die in Mole Master if you don't stay in Mole Master. I personally prefer the simple people of Elmwood. I like them, alright? They don't get all uppity about Bane or the High Blade or any of the fucking the Hawks, the City Watch, the Soldiery, the Cloaks, like all of that. You know, once upon a time, I was into it, but now I just prefer watching over my flocks. This city just takes a lot from you over the years, and you don't get old in this city without selling out or selling off. That's why I fucking hate Mole Master.
Asked and answered. So I heard that some unfortunate happenings have occurred in Elmswood. What? Obviously, you would know more than I would, and I don't want to go off just rumor. So I want to hear from the best source I can get. What was going on?
You know, I wish there's some great fucking story I could tell you, some big to-do about it, but honestly, I was in Hillsborough at the time, looking into buying some more property, expending out parts of Elmwood, so I wasn't there for it. You know, you leave for a trip to try to make your own holdings better and then come back to a giant flaming crater where everything you used to own and there's a pause as she kind of breathes real hard. Everything you own and all the people you cared about. Well, just a smoldering crater that used to be a home. So then you have to go with no information and your tail tucked between your legs back to Mole Master and stay in the shitty manor that's there with the shitty people of Mole Master and shitty Zors and Zoras who don't care about anyone or anything. Hold on, I'm sorry. And she rings the bell and immediately there's a servant. And she doesn't even say anything. The servant's there, and there's another glass of wine put there. Would you please clear these fucking glasses out of the way? I'm getting claustrophobic. And wordlessly, foomp, foomp, with efficiency, the glasses are taken.
So I'm gonna show you something else. And again, this is not to intimidate you or to show you who I'm here with, because I'm here by myself. But I'm gonna show you this, because she's the one that has the.
Yeah, and you can see that there are, not kidding, that kind of her under, like, her, I don't want to say underwear, but it is what she is wearing underneath. It's very, her kind of style is very different from the Zors and Zoras of Mole Master. It's very much, I mean, she's got what is basically up-jumped work clothes on. Like she's got like the mascalier, but it's more intended for like being outside and farm work rather than keeping up the cold. And she's just all of it's very nice, but it's very out of place, especially here in the Traveler's Cloak, and especially after your dinner with your mom and your stepdad. But you can see some of the patterning underneath is very much the same patterning as the symbol of the cloaks. That kind of, you know what symbol I'm talking about.
So I'm just going to slightly pull out my necklace, show her the symbol, and then put it back underneath my shirt, and just say, "I'm not here with the cloaks, but I do work with them, so any of my questions are to provide as much help for your property, the people that you loved, the town that you loved, and your escape from Mole Master as best I can, however much there is left to save. I'm just looking to see what we can figure out.
What rank are you, kid?
I'm starting out.
So what? Rank 0? Just joined in? What, discovered you had magic during puberty and they scooped you up?
No, I'm a little further than that. I am rank 1, but I foresee a jump up to rank 2 near in the future.
Well, yeah, I used to be a part of the cloaks. When I became the head of the Culkin household, I had to choose between being the head of the house or staying in the cloaks, and, well, sometimes you gotta give up what you love to go protect what you love, if that makes any sense. So,
Yep.
all right.
And
And so,
anything you don't want to get back to the organization doesn't have to. Like I said, I'm not here with them. I'm here for them.
all right,
Yeah.
all right. Listen, I'm sorry I came across kind of hot at the table. It's just, I think you would understand if you in my position what it would be like to come back home to that and then have to be back here.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah. No, you have every right. I'm just glad that you didn't keep it up, because boy, would that be tough.
yeah.
Um.
Well,
So
Mole Master brings out the worst in everybody. What can I say?
so with the fires, did you notice anything peculiar, or were you just caught up in coming home to what you saw?
I mean, it's fire. Not anything that I know. I mean, besides, looking at what used to be Elmwood. I don't know much about how the fires started. I don't know who or what could have caused such a that. I mean, it's over 400 acres completely gone. And parts of the forest surrounding Elmwood, moving into Cormantha, starting to burn it. Maybe it's just my own imagination, but I swear to God I could see things in that smoke. Moving around, laughing at the destruction.
Mm.
But, don't don't put too much thought into that. I was not in the best of moods or the best of minds when I saw that. So,
Yeah.
I mean, my question is, you know, I'm glad somebody in Mulmaster besides me seems to care, but what
There's
are you
a
planning on doing
select
about
few.
this?
What do I plan on doing? I mean, unfortunately, I don't have any like reversal of time powers, because
That'd be fucking
probably would have
useful. If
already
you
done
figure
it.
that out, you let me know immediately.
Yeah, I'll let you know when this level 1 cloak figures out how to reverse time.
Good, you've got ambitions. It's important for a cloak. At least I still hope it's important for a cloak.
So what I'm planning on doing right now is gathering information and I mean realistically prevent future occurrences, because I feel like there's not much I can do for Elmwood, especially as a level 1 cloak, and having as little experience as I do have. But prevention is always first line of defense.
Well, if you really mean it, I do have. Shut the curtains. And she looks over to you, Jasper.
Yeah, she does.
I have one lead on what happened to Elmwood, but unfortunately, while being a Zora has its perks, it also has its restrictions. There is one survivor from Elmwood, but only one. Some young woman apparently drifted into Mulmaster Bay on a makeshift raft made from all sorts of burnt up materials. Now, I know where they're keeping her, and normally I would just order whoever's down there to release her into my custody, you know, being from Elmwood and all of that. Unfortunately, the Hawks are involved. And they're trying to take her into custody. And I think we all know what happens if a Hawk takes you into custody.
For those of us that are unaware.
For those of us who are unaware, the Hawks are the secret police of Mulmaster.
Okay.
They are the highest and most well-trained members of the soldiery. Typically, they're pulled from the soldiery, and they work at all levels. While there are some Hawks who are just fine putting on the big show of being loud and, you know, assuming the role of leading the Hawks, many of the Hawks work in secret throughout Mulmaster. And it is not uncommon for those citizens that the Hawks take interest in for one reason or another, take them into their custody, to disappear afterwards, after being judged to be destabilizing elements, is typically what they're referred to.
Mm.
And both Freddy and Jasper, you would know that that is, you know, especially with your guys' knowledge, nobles love the Hawks. Everybody else, not so much. However, even the nobles have to put a hand out, because while the soldiery and the city watch and the cloaks and pretty much all the other factions of Mulmaster have to bring respect to the nobles, the Hawks are the special case. Because with enough evidence, even a noble could be claimed a destabilizing element to the Hawks. So, unfortunately, I can't just send an envoy over or throw around the Zora Kolkin to get them to release this woman to me. However, the Hawks don't have her yet, and she's only being watched over by some city watch.
Jasper cracks her knuckles.
I personally don't have enough people or pull in Mulmaster proper to pull something like that off. Plus, even though it's been some time since I've been in Mulmaster, I only ever come once a year, if that, you know, to govern as the head of the House of Colkin is supposed to. But if you mean what you say, and you're not just a stepson of Goss, you really fucking mean what you say, well, I can point you in the right direction. If you get her to my estate, we might actually be able to figure something out. But it's the only lead I got. Other than that, it's all just smoke monsters in my memory, you know?
Mm-hmm. The only other thing that I wanted to talk to you about was the sudden change in weather. It seems to have followed directly from your incident and then arrival in Mulmaster. It's gotten hot and humid, and it's not really the time of year for that.
Not at all. It's fucking awful. Not even in Elmwood. Not even in the middle of the summer does it get like this. The insects? Sure. But the actual heat? Right now, this time of year? Woolmaster should be half frozen right now.
So I'm wondering, I was talking about prevention before. Do you see anything like that happening over here? Is this something you experienced in Elmwood before everything?
No, not before whatever happened at home happened. I think that whatever happened there, I don't know if it's causing what's happened here. I don't know if it's a precursor to it. Because my home wasn't like this. You know, right now we are more worried about making sure all of our crops and everything stay dry and secure. Especially, you know, as we're heading out of winter, got to start preparing for, you know, replanting, spring, all of that good stuff. But nothing like this.
All right. We
Listen.
will try our best to get a hold of the Hawks, and maybe I can
No.
throw
Do
around.
not get a hold of the Hawks on this one.
Not
Absolutely do
oh,
not
not the
do
Hawks.
that.
No, the guard, the keeper from the Hawks.
Yes, absolutely. Here, listen. Normally, I would not care about what happens to the City Watch or pretty much just about anybody in Mulmaster. However, I think there's been enough people who have had to pay whatever price it is back at home. And I don't think bashing the heads as she looks over to you, Jasper, after cracking your knuckles so badly. Bashing the heads of some City Watch is gonna solve our problems or keep the Hawks off of us. Where you're
We'll
looking
see.
for is, it's called the House of Suffering. It's a little hospice operated by some priests of Ilmata out near the South Road Keep. It's real small. Only people who can't afford actual medicine would go there. And of course, you wash up a stranger in Mulmaster, that's what they're going to send you. There should only be a couple City Watch members. I get if it comes down to violence, you gotta do what you gotta do, but I would really appreciate if we could keep this only to lying at best, you know? You find this girl, you get her out of there. You bring in, she writes down on, she like reaches over and writes down an address and hands it to you. This is where historically my estate is supposed to be and is. You bring her there. I'll have you guys stay, watch over. We'll get whatever we need out of her, find out what happened there, maybe figure out how to knock all of this stuff out. And I'm not just going to ask you to do it out of the kindness of your hearts. And she reaches over and pulls out, and the sound of a heavy sack of coins hits the table. I know how Melmaster works. I'm not expecting anybody to do anything out of the kindness of their hearts. So if I'm going to ask you to go toe-to-toe with possibly some Hawks on worst-case scenario, and at best have to breathe the same air as City Watch, you might as well get paid for it.
I think we can do this.
It's 150, and then there's more to come if you bring her back to my estate. If you do it without killing anybody, you actually do it with some discrepancy, I'll double what's in that bag right there. And then, depending on what we find out from this girl, I'll double that again. There's at least one good thing about being a goddamn Zora of Molmast is that gold doesn't mean anything anymore.
Yeah, you get to use the word double a lot.
Yeah, it's great for math. We're subjects. Now, if you want to talk to me about the exact formulas for how exactly a cantrip should be performed, moving up through first through third level spells, that we could talk about all day. That's where my math is really good, but I'll be honest, even talking about magical theory doesn't leave the same taste of excitement in my mouth that I want it to. So,
All right. Well, we have our goal. We'll take our 150 gold here now and do what we can and take things as they come.
all right, well, I'm gonna finish this drink. Maybe yell at some servants who are gonna be entirely too nice to me for no fucking reason other than the Z at the start of my title. And
Yeah.
I'll wait for you guys back at my estate. So, if it means anything, you have the thanks of Zora Colkin. Even if this turns out to be fucking nothing and she's burnt from the inside and out, at least I can sleep knowing that I didn't just sit on my fucking hands and get drunk at the Traveler's Cloak all day.
Mm-hmm.
Jasper stands up and opens the curtain for Freddy.
Well, see you when I see you.
See you when I see you. You exit and the curtain falls and you hear the sounds of hands being pushed on tables and a head laying down on it and some deep, slightly erratic breathing as you return from Zora Colkin. And as you guys make your exit into the sweltering, humid night, that's where we're going to end it for tonight.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Ooh.
That was some good information gathering, everybody.
Indeed.
Yeah.
All right, let us say goodnight to chat.
Good night,
Good night,
chat.
chat.
Good night, chat. Thank you so much for everyone who is watching, specifically Il Delara, Eyelashes, and hey, look, somebody new, Crazy You _. I hope you enjoyed this Crazy You. If you ever want to know how the fuck we got here, or maybe some context to all of this, you may absolutely watch some of the VODs of every single episode, minus episode 7. There's only 2 hours out of a 3-hour episode. Things got messed up. I apologize. But it's all on the Goddammit YouTube channel, where you can watch our Mole Master campaign and our campaign before this, our Lost and Found Flan campaign, all taking place in the D&D Adventure League's D&D Expeditions model. So that's my shameless plug. Thank you so much for watching. Peace in the Middle East. Much love.